Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another fantastic collaboration.
That's all, folks.
That's it, yeah. It very, very much is the Looney Tunes up in this bitch, ladies and gentlemen. I am, of course, Aeron of the Wrestle Plug. Now, joining me in this collaboration is, of course, Let's Talk Business. It is the clean Mr. Clean, Anton Green.
Yo.
And, of course, the hitman, the man with the hot takes and the spicy looks. He is, of course, Gabe Myers. Welcome back, boys.
Peace, people. How are you doing?
Yeah, this is going to be good fun because it's a crossover. So if you're listening on Let's Talk Business, thank you very much for joining us. Don't forget, you can check those guys out. They've got social media, and we'll give you the links in the description. And of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, on the Wrestle Plug channel, thank you very much for joining us there as well. Now, we do something called the State of Wrestling Address. So what we're going to do is we're going to change it up a little bit and call it the State of Business Address. So that's now we've got something new for the boys, because ultimately there is just as important a part as I am when it comes to this. So we're going to look at some of the, shall we say, worthy news topics of the week in professional wrestling. And I'm sure that at least one of these individuals will give you some hot takes, and the other one will sit there and be a politician for the entire time.
Him.
Anton Green. No sitting on the fence. Otherwise, we're going to have to start giving you forfeits if you sit on the fence too much. And we begin with AEW issuing a huge list of banned moves, spots, and more. AEW officials have issued a list of banned moves, spots, and more within the company, and the list is long. Fightful broke the story, putting together a fantastic report that noted there were protocols developed by the AEW medical team, coaches, and referees to help protect talent, staff, crew, and fans. The document said that while there is always risk in pro wrestling, they want to minimize the risk without compromising the quality of the talent's performances and ability to be creative. Specifically, a document was sent out that outright banned unprotected chair shots to the head, shots to the back of the head, buckle bombs, and blind moves backwards into the turnbuckle, fencing responses, which is unnatural positions of arms following a concussion, seizure cells, spitting, bleeding in the crowd, weapons or projectiles in the crowd, taking drinks or food from guests in the crowd, or physical contact with the crowd. We're told that nothing with blood on it should be thrown into the crowd. And that's not all. Aside from the outright banning of the above, the report also provided a full verbatim list of spots, stipulations, gimmicks, etc. that require full approval by medical and coaches assigned to the match. The report moved to make clear the difference between the banned items and the following bit. All of the below now, good fucking English there by Wrestling Inc. Thank you for that. Basically, it goes on with more stuff. Spots and bumps on the ring, apron, and outside. These are things that need to be cleared with somebody before they're actually done. So spots and bumps on the ring, apron, and outside. Table, ladder, chair spots in and out of the ring, only allowed with padding, by the way, now. Any elevated spots outside of the barricades, that includes dives and ladder spots on stage, around the arena, and other places outside of the ring. All pile driver and tombstone variations, including the sit-down drivers, inverted poison hurricane runners, and vertebreakers, high-risk dives, or top rope moves, aka 450, 630, double moonsaults, SSP, whatever the fuck that is. Shooting star press,
yeah.
Intentional bleeding of any sort, not just blading. What? Well, how else do you intentionally bleed? That's opening up some very dangerous territory for the women's division. Throwing people into, through, or over ring steps, commentary tables, bell tables, or guardrails, barricades, weapon usage, including chairs, pipes, kendo sticks, hammers, ring bells, bats, chains, etc., title belts, thumbtacks, skewers, barbed wire, and other sharp puncturing objects, powders, aerosol sprays, or liquids, throwing any weapons or objects or chairs, choking, strangling with hands, or a weapon or hanging spots, injury spots or angles, whether or not medical is involved or not, or called to ringside, any physicality in the crowd or crowd brawling, any physicality involving referees, managers, extras, celebrities, or special guests. It was also noted, I know this is long-winded, I apologize. It was noted that the list was not a comprehensive one and could be adjusted by medical, legal, and coaching staff. When approved, the moves are to be performed in accordance with safety protocols in place. One talent we spoke to said they believe this is a good move and will help streamline the show, avoid repeat spots and moves in general, and make more of the athletic spots that talent are capable of. It is also expected to help instill, that must have been a veteran they spoke to, it is also expected to help instill some authority to the coaches and help production prepare for spots. Most we've heard from agreed it was a necessary tightening of the screws as the company grows. All right. Gabe Myers, it's time. I'll see you. He's itching to go. Rare to go. So AEW has been in place for 4 years now. This list has only just arrived 4 years into a promotion that has seen a litany of injuries, bad spots, errors, horrendous booking, and more. There has been some good stuff littered in there, but ultimately most of the good stuff is kind of the sprinklings on the ultimate shitstorm that is this chocolate cake of AEW.
Oh, yes.
Gabe Myers, your thoughts on this extensive list?
First of all, this to me shows how second-rate this company is, because for a company with all this legit billions and billions of dollars / pounds, you have Arn Anderson, you have Billy Gunn, you have all these guys that's been in the WWF / NWA, WWE, if you want to put it that way, for years. Are you telling me half the stuff that these guys are saying now, they didn't say it from day one? These guys are supposed to be what, producers? Are you telling me that, like I said, Arn Anderson, Billy Gunn, I was going to say Demon there, but I know Demon's not there, but Dean Malenko. I know they love of Dean Malenko. Are you telling me what, none of these guys listen to him? I know obviously they they insulted JR, what was it? Brandon Cutler talked about how we don't listen to JR.
To question JR, Mr. Roll for Initiative. Oh boy, shut up. Like, that infuriated me. Imagine thinking as Brandon Cutler that you're above the knowledge of the greatest play-by-play in the history of professional wrestling.
Again, I really do feel like going on literally strangling half these guys. Again, I understand about the headshots. The headshots for the chairs and everything, I get that. Again, I do like intricate moves, don't get me wrong. But I've always said that AEW, when it comes to their matches, it's literally like a there's no breather. People are going to say, oh, you know, you're trying to go back to the 60s, 70s. No. Slow it down a bit. Let it make sense. To me, let's say in one match you do, let's say about 50 moves. Okay, let's say you do 20 moves in one match. 5 of those, that should be it. Within reason, obviously, of course. But again, what was it? They talk about is it the inverted breaker, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's
Ringo Killer.
It looks good, don't get me wrong. But if anybody's kicking out at 2, you're dead. You're dead. But I don't know. I think from the little bit that I've heard, like news-wise, I'm told most of the boys are saying, okay, yeah, we hear it, but yeah, we're not going to follow it. And to me, it makes me think, you know what? This is why you need someone like a Vince McMahon there. Because Vince McMahon would never allow this sort of thing to happen. Each match, okay, yes, it's a sequence. I get it. I guess it's a sequence. But at the same time, you couldn't have, let's say, the tombstone or the pedigree in every single match. Literally, it'll be like, okay, well, you know what? Taker's doing the tombstone, Triple H is doing the pedigree. That's it. Nobody else is going to copy it. But these guys literally, no one cares. And literally, it feels like every man for himself. This is why you need Vince Russo there. I know people are going to say, oh, Vince Russo. Vince Russo actually will put some structure. He'll put some structure into the show. Mr. Clean?
Yeah, he'll put a structure in. He'll put a 3-tiered selling. That's the structure he'll put in.
Mate, you still watched it and you enjoyed it, didn't you? You still watched it and enjoyed it back in the day.
Oh,
so.
It was terrible.
Mate, it was a 3.2 rating.
Canyon dying?
It was a 3.2 rating. The AEW and WWE would kill for a 3.2 rating these days.
Yeah, so, no, I will not disagree with that. But the thing is, I just don't believe Vince Russo could regain those ratings. I don't think that's not happening.
Me and you will have our own show on Vince Russo.
Yeah, we will. There'll be nowhere to hide on August the 27th.
Oh, believe
when you're watching me work, when you're watching me work, remember that.
I'm gonna have literally. I've got a Vince Russo T-shirt. I'm gonna wear it. I actually got a Vince Russo T-shirt. I'm the Vince Russo guy.
I'm gonna absolutely call you out on comms at Coliseum. I'm gonna be all over you. I can't wait. I'm like, who's this freaking Mark down here? There you go. I censored that just for you, Anton. So Anton, Mr. Politician. What do you obviously both you guys have extensive history and experience in professional wrestling, even much more so than myself. So you'll be able to lend a lot of credibility to this. And obviously, Anton, especially, I've noticed that like in the last couple of years, you've been working a lot backstage doing refereeing and stuff like that. And this list is kind of aimed at people like yourself, referees, officials, people who are trying to help keep the match working together. Our boy Adam Mansfield was road agent for Coliseum on the weekend, did a really good job of keeping everyone together, making sure there was no repeat finishes. And that lent itself to an excellent night of professional wrestling where people were entertained. What's your thoughts on the list?
Yeah, I think like in a way it's just in a written form. It's not much different to how like the shows, when we're on shows, there's an understanding like you do have to get clearance. If like a promoter, you'll go up to the promoter and say, can I do this? It's like, like you'll see backstage like at a Rumble show, it'd be the discussion like, about microphone work, like can I take the mic? Can I say this?
No finger gestures.
Well, yeah, we had a
list, didn't we?
Directions.
Have you told Gabe about the list?
No, I haven't got around to tell him about that one. But
I feel like that was aimed at me.
I think so. I think you felt you must have. Felt
I was like, yo, this is a witch hunt.
No swearing. But yeah, it's not really, to me, that's what happens a lot of the time, definitely on the shows that we like on our circuit. And like you would need, if we were going to do something with a table at ring, like we'd have to get clearance. We wouldn't just go ahead and say, you know what, I'm going to smash the table today, or I'm going to use, like even the weapons, you would clear it. You would clarify, and you'd also, if someone's already, and you might be told that's already happening, or like, oh, I don't want any blood, or like generally, a lot of that stuff is kind of maybe not so much in the way of the moves, governing the moves, but then I don't think when you've got that, like the second part that says it's kind of like, it's not saying you can't do it, but these are the things would have to be cleared. Obviously, you're not going to get clearance on if you could do a hammerlock or certain moves, but when you're going up a certain level, like we're not saying you can't do them, like tombstones and stuff like that, but needs to be approved. Which, like I say, not only does it look after people's safety, it does stop it being like, oh, everybody's doing the tombstone, everyone's doing all these moves, because when someone does, rather than people just, oh, we're going to go off and do our match, and then you'll find out, oh, they're doing that, which was already in this previous match. It's like they're getting clearance on that. So it's like, oh, no, you can't, because we're having this guy doing that spot, or this guy, so I think, I don't think it's just in a written form and it's been leaked. I think that's the thing. And it's going to get some people's backs up, because it's like it takes away the spontaneity of it, and, like making people think, oh, we're not going to get to see much of that now. Whereas I think maybe that would get some people's backs up, but I don't think it's a bad move.
Is it fair to argue that they shouldn't have been seeing that stuff in the first place anyway? There should have been control over it. Like my question to you guys is a very obvious one, and we know what the answer is, but does AEW, do you think, have a better level of programming, better ratings, and a better quality product if they had initiated this from the very first day and said, we are making this extremely important, you will fucking abide by this list of rules?
Me personally, I'll probably say
I think having that kind of like governance, like again, it needs to be private. We shouldn't even hear about it, really.
No,
it shouldn't have got out. Like it's something that there does need to be a governance. You can imagine WWE's got that as well, like protocol.
Yeah,
there does need to, I think, having that sort of protocol will improve it. And I do feel like they've made a lot of like improvements from when they first started, because I like in the time that I've been watching them.
Yeah,
like there was some stuff I would, and maybe it's not fair because I would only just like hear little bits or see little clips, but I definitely feel like they've really put like a lot of emphasis on really, like I know you guys hate it, so it's a bit, but from what I see, like they do.
I don't hate it. I just
you slightly,
common sense is the key term here.
You hate it.
This stuff is common sense for anyone working in the business. At no point should these things, like, they shouldn't need to be said, and the fact they need to be said shows you the state of the locker room and the lack of respect for the business and storytelling.
But I think one of the things is because they go for being the alternative, whereas like WWE, especially when they had like the PG era, it was very like streamlined. So like they want to, we want you to we want this stuff back, but at the same time you've got to control that, because otherwise you go back to like the where it's just out of control and it's just excessive and dangerous. So I think that's probably the thing, is like there was a point like for them, they do want some of that stuff in there that you might not get so much in WWE, because they want to feel like we aren't too reserved, like we're pro wrestling and we're doing like the staples of old school sort of pro wrestling and that kind of thing.
I was gonna say something. To me, doesn't this basically, again, people may think I love knocking AEW. It's not that. I think it's, like you say, it's common sense, but it's integrity as a company. You're telling me in the past 4 years, people like Brandon Cutlet, Mr. No
Cutler.
I call him Cutlet. I call him Cutlet. I call him Cutlet. That's why I call him Mr. Cutlet. Man of no legs. Remember the man of no legs?
Muscles Mansell will never forget that.
Do you know what? Do you know what? Thank you for reminding me. So, me and Mr. Mansfield had a bit of Morley's fried chicken after the show, as is per for Coliseum, and he asked me to mention the man with no legs, Gabe Myers.
I said the first again. I watched the first show. I gave him a go. I actually watched the first show.
The guy in the Battle Royal who had no legs.
I was like, who the heck's this guy?
It was just watching. He's got no legs. He's got no legs. He's like so outraged that he's doing moves in there, like, and he's getting offense in, but he's got no legs.
Fair play to the guy. I give the guy credit, but I thought people are selling for this guy. I was like, he's doing the 619. I'm like, what? Okay, fair enough. But my point with this company is this: you're telling me that literally there was no structure from day one. From day one, there's been no real structure to your company. That's madness.
Do you think that though? I mean, I'd imagine they have. Like, it's just this is now like they decided to write something down and it's been leaked. I'd assume they've been having some sort of protocols previously. You'd like to think, wouldn't you? I mean, it's not like they've been absolutely like out of control, like off the wall completely.
Well, the thing is, I've been hearing, I won't say shoots, but if anything, it's a shoot. I've been in like a few little shoots, basically, people saying that and obviously Aeron, you would say from Kaz and everything, that they're saying that AEW is basically like, it's like the Wild West. You just do whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. There's no one really there to kind of stop you. Matches wise, no structure, no nothing. I think who was it? Who was that? Again, I apologize, people. Who was the British deaf wrestler that got sacked during the whole
Jimmy Havoc?
Jimmy Havoc. He was basically saying about how he was making £250,000 a year, which is crazy for him, but fair dues to him. But literally, it was like basically telling me, okay, you're gonna win, but go out there, so you're gonna say, do what you're gonna do. And I'm thinking, huh? Vince, again, people can knock Vince McMahon, people can knock Triple H and everything, but I use the analogy of when was it Rock and Triple H apparently in 99 2000 used to go out and kind of just say what they want, but it was a thing of, okay, whatever you say, let it be to the point where it's so good that we can't complain about it. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. Like, again, even though Anton knocks Triple H in 99 2000, he knocked him. Let's say, for example, like a D'Lo Brown or Hawk Holly went out and said, oh, how do you like me now? They get sacked. D'Lo will be saying something, people get sacked, but because it's Triple H, because it's Rock and everything, the verbiage they have is so good, you can't knock it. You have AEW. Again, you have people like Chris Jericho. You have people like Christian Cage. You have people like Sting that has good verbiage. Again, I love Sting, but I was trying to go with the old heads to kind of show my loyalty to all the old heads, because I know Anton knows that all the new guys, I can't stand them. But I think just in terms of AEW, for me, really, it's like, you're making good money, fine. Save your money, do what you're going to do, gain experience. But at the same time, it's like, I can't believe this list is even out there. I can't believe it's even out there. And like you said, Arn Anderson, Billy Gunn, all these producers and everything, no control. But again, maybe it's to the point where, I don't know what, again, I was Anthony, you're, wrestler, promoter as well. I don't know, let's say you had someone like, I'm trying to go crazy. Let's say like a New Jack. If New Jack said, okay, I'm facing Aeron and I'm going to do X, Y, Z, are you telling me that you'd have no control over him, what he can and can't do? Or could he tell you, okay, I'm doing this and that's it?
No, I mean, you could, you would tell him whether he'd actually listen, but then that's your, like, that's how you act afterwards. Obviously, you don't, you choose whether you're going to book him again. If he says he wants to do this and you say, no, I don't want that on the show, he goes ahead and does it anyway, then, I mean, you got control in the sense that you can tell somebody not to do these things. It's whether they listen to you. If they go ahead, like your analogy with like the Rock and Triple H, it's like you then decide, well, what he did, was that for the benefit of the show? Will I still let it go? Or will I say, no, I don't want him on my show anymore? Because that's the only thing you can do. You can't take back what he's done, but you can just prevent him from doing it again on your show. I suppose that's the thing. I mean, you do, like, to me, if I knew somebody was going to do something and I've told them not to, if they go ahead and do it, then that's open sort of defiance to what you, but you might, it depends again what it is. It might be a case they went out and did it, like I said with Triple H and Rock, and it's like, actually, that actually worked out okay. He should have listened to me, but the fact is, he was right. It was a good thing.
Aeron, I was gonna say something quickly. Do you remember what's his name? Is it Bill Morrissey or William Morrissey? Cass, basically.
Oh yeah, big Cass.
Obviously, you probably
Bill.
heard Big Bill. You know the old story about when he was in WWE and apparently he had the incident with the little fella. We'll say something.
The little fella.
The little guy, where basically I think it was supposed to big boot him once and that was it. But apparently, and he said out his own mouth that he thought that it would be better basically if he big boots him, punch him a few more times in the head, and big boots him again. So he went off script. Again, Anton says it was no good because obviously it's like, well, you know, the big boot should have been it, but he thought, okay, do a bit more damage. The story was from Kaz himself is that Vince McMahon came back, was cussing him, all that sort of stuff, and Kaz defended himself. Went to his face, you know, said, you know, come fight me, old man, blah, 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 blah. And basically, Triple H basically had to save Vince from getting a beatdown. Would you say from that perspective that, again, from the AEW perspective, that, okay, Kaz, even though he went against Vince McMahon, he believed in what he did to try to make it better? Or would you say that, okay, Kaz was wrong and Vince was right? From that perspective?
I think it's important to retain some level of organic nature to what we do as wrestlers and what we do in the ring. So, for instance, if you go slightly off script, you know, for instance, like, yeah, you can sort of script a match to the umpteenth occasion, but you're going to have botches. You're going to have things that may go wrong. You might have to call something on the fly. And at that point, I would expect the wrestlers to be professional enough to make the right decisions. I can trust, for instance, someone like a Cody Rhodes or Roman Reigns to kind of be able to say, in this moment, we kind of need to do this. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are probably great examples of that, guys who can kind of change the match to suit on the fly. And you're not going to, when they get backstage, be like, what the fuck do you think you're doing? And it's like, okay, you have to have a little bit of leeway so that they still have some sort of creative input in what they're doing. But at the same time, you don't micromanage it, but you do just manage it straight. But that's the difference, isn't it? We know that we can trust people in WWE, especially, to go out there and be professionals. I know that when I see the Usos versus Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa, they're not going to do something stupid that's going to jeopardize. And to be fair, like we saw on that same show at Money in the Bank, Logan Paul and Ricochet, they did that spot. And I would have said to them, if you can do that spot cleanly, that's fine and safely. If at any point that spot goes wrong, you abandon it and you leave it. And they didn't do that, and they would have absolutely got fucking hammered by me as a promoter for going ahead and doing that, especially when you consider that you do not want to basically injure Logan Paul with the cachet he has in the celebrity world and things like that, because it's just going to reflect badly in terms of publicity. And again, a lot of this comes down to PR, you know, public relations, publicity. How are you perceived? What are you giving people? Do your sponsors allow this? We all saw the famous moment with the pizza cutter with Chris Jericho and Nick Gage, and then there's a Domino's advert as they go to commercial. And like, no wonder Domino's are pissed as hell about it. Of course they are, because they do not want their product being associated with a drug addicted bank robber charging around with a pizza slicer. That's not good for business. And also it jeopardizes the ability for the company to make a lot of money. These sponsors pay extraordinary amounts of money. So the bottom line is, but it's also protecting your talent. AEW wrestlers need protecting from themselves. That's why this list should have been in place from the get-go. And if it had been, they would have been instilled in them. The discipline would have been instilled in them that you will wrestle properly. You will wrestle professionally. You will make sure that you do spots that make sense. You will tell a story, because ultimately, one of the biggest issues of AEW and why I'm not a fan of it at all is because they don't do anything for the benefit of professional wrestling and the audience they're working in front of. They do it for the benefit of themselves, so they can pop the boys, so they can pop Meltzer and get a rating. And that damages the business more, in my opinion, and creates lower ratings. And that's why more and more people are turning off. Because if I'm a casual wrestling fan and I turn on AEW and all I'm seeing are a load of guys who don't give a shit about entertaining me and only give a shit about popping themselves, why am I going to continue to watch that?
Not to be a nag, not to be an old fuddy duddy, but isn't that most wrestling today? Isn't
absolutely.
WWE?
And that's
isn't
why,
WWE today?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And that's why I don't enjoy mainstream wrestling as much as I do the British independents, where people still work towards their audience. What makes somewhere like Rumble fantastic to work for is that everything is done with the people in mind, the fans in mind, because at the end of the day, they're the people who are paying money to see us work. And of course, we haven't got the big sponsors to work with, so it's easier for us to work towards them. But at the same time, you should always have the people in mind, the punters, the people who pay the money. Most of these wrestlers, we can tell, don't give a shit. And it's, yeah, it does happen in WWE, but it happens in AEW tenfold.
Oh, yeah.
Worse. Like if you're saying to me, you know, the argument I always hear from AEW fans is, oh, the product that we do is so much more exciting and so much more intense. For like a brief moment, yes. But after 2 hours, I'm sitting there thinking, I'd rather watch fucking SmackDown. At least I know that I'm going to be entertained. I'm going to be given proper storylines and proper TV that I can be invested in. I'm not getting any of that in AEW unless MJF's on my screen. So, you know, that's one of the big issues. But the bottom line is this list should have been in place from the get-go. The fact that we've had to wait 4 years to really hear anything about it. And it's obviously a direct retaliation to the fact that they have had a record amount of injuries. If you've gone back 30, 40 years to the territories and NWA and Mid-South and said, this is what wrestling is going to be like in 40 years, they would have punched you in the mouth because it's just so ridiculously stupid by comparison. And these guys back in the day, and especially what's the biggest period in wrestling history? The Attitude Era, where 10 million people every Monday were tuning into either Nitro or WWF Raw. And at that point, both shows, you know, had some sort, and ultimately we saw why did WCW go out of business? Because it lost handle when it came to creative. That's the first thing everyone always says is they allowed guys to have creative control written into their contracts. You cannot do that in wrestling. You can't. That is like the biggest mistake. And actually, you know, credit to your boy Vince Russo. It's Eric Bischoff who stuck that in. It's Eric Bischoff who allowed these guys to run rampant in the first place. And of course, Vince Russo just comes in and starts spraying his dick around and making it worse. But that's neither here nor there.
I like the double thumbs up when he says he made it worse.
Yeah, he did. It's like, well, he's just, but it's that thing of course he's going to, because you've set a precedent, you've set a foundation of what to do. If Eric Bischoff comes in and you've already got this thing of like, no, Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage and all these guys, and Kevin Nash especially, will not be allowed to just fucking piss all over the product and do whatever they want and collect a ludicrous paycheck, then Vince Russo's like, okay, well, this is what I work with. So, you know, you've already set the precedent of discipline and I can work with that. And that's why Vince Russo worked in WWF, because he had Vince McMahon telling him not to fucking be a moron. Those are the stone cold facts of it.
He made Stone Cold, made The Rock, made
he absolutely
Triple H mean something. Made Triple H mean something.
He had Vince McMahon behind him saying, "Don't fuck up, pal." In WCW, we saw what happened when he had nobody to control him.
Can I say something? Can I say something about this Vince Russo thing just before we move on? Anton, you're the impartial guy here. You're the guy in the middle, yeah.
Oh, now you want me to be on the fence, yeah? To me.
When Vince Russo left the WWF, be honest, was the WWF ever as exciting? Was the WWF ever that exciting as before he left? Afterwards, can you think of a period? Let's say he left October '99. Let's say up to 2005, for example. Did from October '99 to 2005, let's say to December, was it ever as exciting, ever as fun, ever as big, as I'm trying to think of the word for it. Because I don't see his word global, because I don't see.
I like how he's only asking you and not me.
No. Because he's the guy who's impartial, isn't he? He's the impartial guy. Be honest. Did they ever have the stars that they ever did before after he left?
Yeah, I honestly think the star power was bigger, because I mean, and it's, I think, to be honest, that's a credit to
2001. Did you not see WrestleMania?
Yeah, I'd say there's a credit to Vince Russo that in like '98, if you looked at the roster, it was quite thin. It was thin. And what they did with that, like, because really, like, you had Undertaker, Stone Cold, Rock was coming up towards the end of the year. Triple H, I still don't feel like, and he wasn't up at the level he became. Kane
broke out in like
Mankind.
No, 99 did. 99. SummerSlam
starting to 99, but 2000 where he really sort of like, okay, now he is like a serious like player on that level.
But who started him off? Who started him off though?
Yeah, no,
Vince Russo.
Yeah.
So Vince Russo started off the Undertaker, did he?
No.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
I think
what they did with a limited roster in '98, it was because with the Austin McMahon feud and all that stuff, and like the Highway to Hell, all of those kind of things, like that was the Deadly Game tournament
by himself.
he definitely. But I think by '99, like it's still good, but I don't think it was to say, oh, it never got any better. The stars did get bigger, like as you got into like, because you still had Austin. Triple H was now a bigger player. And and in 2000, like after 2001, then you started getting like the old WCW guys coming in. So star power wasn't an issue. They did move away from but they needed to move away from like the car crash thing anyway, I think, because what they call it, like hot shotting. At some point, you do have to sort of like, okay, we need to calm it down a little bit because you can't just keep throwing everything at the wall. So I get what I wouldn't say like, oh, it wasn't as frenetic in the years after, but then I don't think that's necessarily a negative, that it was a bit more controlled.
Do you think that the product was better then, Gabe, when
honestly
was there than to say, like, for instance, do you think, to like, just a serious question, do you think 2000 and 2001 were not as good as, say, 96, 97 and 98?
For me, I like 2000, 2001, but I did like 98, 99, if that makes sense. But when I look at the star power of 2001, yes, there was star power, but I take it for star power in 2001, not what I think of star power today. So to me, I did like Booker T. I mean, I did like Booker T, but even Anton will say Booker T wasn't no Rock, he wasn't no Austin, he wasn't no, you know. I like Scott Steiner. I loved Scott Steiner for years. But even Scott Steiner in 2000, 2001, he was starting to dip. RVD, I liked RVD, but RVD wasn't.
Yeah, but I think like a year like 2003 stacked. I mean, you had Hogan, Lesnar, Angle. You still had Austin briefly. You still had The Rock sort of in and out, like briefly.
But
and did you find it exciting though?
But the thing is, did you find 2003, 2004?
It was a bit more. But then also, to my taste, there was a bit more emphasis on the actual quality of, like, you know, because to me, I wasn't all about like titles change all the time, and I wasn't a big fan of like no credibility for the champions. They use it all the time. Like I appreciate storyline, but it's like at the same time I can appreciate like sometimes it can just be like, this is a mega match. This is a big, huge match. It's Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle. We don't need like we don't need a run over with a car storyline for them to. It's not needed. Like it's Lesnar versus Angle. They just don't like each other and they want to prove who's the best. For my taste,
Russo had left by the time they did the car angle anyway, hadn't he?
No, of course.
I'm just saying like that kind of angle, like you have to have like slept with your wife or something like that to get the heat. Like I don't think you would need that.
Yeah. Look, that was after Vince left. That was after Vince left. It wasn't like Vince was there. Russo wasn't even there. You had, was it Shane McMahon destroying?
Hey, what do you mean? Val Venus and Goldust. That's one of Vince Russo's.
Yeah, but the thing is,
he slept with his wife. That was the whole crux of it.
No. I think what it was, Jim Cornette took it personally. He took it personally. That's what,
here we go. Here we go.
He did. He took my shoot there. He took it personally. He's thinking, well, again, for me, yes, I understand the point of if she had a miscarriage, yes, I get that. And to me, that's a serious thing.
Oh no, I'm talking about Val Venus and Marlena when he was shooting with Goldust.
Oh no, but the thing is, it's not good. But the thing is, these things happen.
Selective memory.
Yeah, no. But then you're bringing up the miscarriage angle as well. Another one of these. But
what I'm saying is that affairs do happen. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but affairs do
happen.
No,
I know. But I'm saying
after he left, what didn't Vince McMahon basically get Trish to go on her knees and bark like a puppy and get Linda to sit in the corner?
Shut up, pal. You loved it.
Wasn't he looking at Stephanie McMahon's tits and everything and looking at her like she again? This is after left.
I mean, that's the thing. They carried it on, like picked up. They kept that thing going for a while. Then
sorry, Aeron, you can't blame me for that stuff. Sorry.
They kept a lot of that sort of stuff going, and even to this day, that's what I mean. Like to this day, you've got angles like built on that to get the heat, which I think again, like it's okay. I just don't think like to say, oh, because it hasn't got that storyline, it's no good. Because obviously, I use like Lesnar and Angle as an example from the same year, like Hogan and Vince McMahon. Like it was the fact that Vince McMahon created, like he's the WWF's. Like Hogan was his biggest star, and it's like the argument over who was the biggest. It's like there's hatred based on that. It's like. That's another big thing. Like that didn't need a storyline. It didn't need like Hogan to have slept with Linda McMahon, or that's like you don't need it.
His original question also was I think sort of like, were you implying like, correct me if I'm wrong, Gabe, but I got the impression you were insinuating that the WWF product was better with Vince Russo than after he left. Whereas for me, 2000 and 2001, for instance, like WrestleMania 17, highest drawing WrestleMania of all time.
Okay.
Made almost $2 million in 2017.
WrestleMania 17.
So it's not there.
I watched it live. I guess you watched it live as well. I remember that like it was nothing, like it was yesterday. Don't put the perspective of what we know of them today. At the time, I like Tess, but did you think Tess and Eddie Guerrero was a great match? Be honest. No. Did you think APA versus, was it Taz and who was it? Taz and no, was it Taz and APA?
Yeah,
versus,
but on the flip side, you
Uncensored?
also had so many, like Austin versus Rock was
one.
Was huge. Undertaker and Triple H.
Two.
Yeah, Undertaker versus Triple H was phenomenal. Chris Jericho versus William Regal was excellent.
No, I liked it.
Benoit versus Angle. Benoit versus Angle on that card, wasn't it? Was that the year?
I'm saying I liked it, but I'm not putting
Chris
today's
Benoit
perspective on
Angle sucked, did it?
And you had the TLC, Edge and Christian, Hardy Boys, Dudley Boys. Well, not TLC. Yeah, it was TLC at that point.
Wait, didn't we have
and you're like, yeah, but like the thing is, right? APA and what was it? APA and Taz versus
yeah, let's pick the opener. Let's pick the opener. Let's tear apart the opener.
But you can go back to 92, 95, 98. You can find shit matches on any card.
Yeah. Well, I think what I'm saying is that, again, I like the pay-per-view, but I'm taking it for what it was at the time. I did like the pay-per-view. For me, really, it was the main event, and it was Triple H and was the main event, and Triple H and Taker.
Yeah, TLC was bollocks, mate, wasn't it?
So no. I did. You know what? I did like TLC. I just didn't like the fact that Edge Christian won. But again, it's the fact. Okay, let's say you have the 3 matches. Fine, I get that. But I'm saying, if you put it in
also,
in a perspective
versus Eddie Guerrero wasn't horrible.
No, I liked it. No, I liked it. But be honest. No, I liked it. I'm telling you, I liked it. But be honest.
That's an undercard, isn't it? The undercards can't be the same level. Like if Test and Eddie Guerrero go out there and do as much as the TLC guys, we're like, what the fuck, boys? Like,
no, I get that, but I'm saying not you, but I'm saying a lot of people say, oh, it was a great match because Eddie is passed away and everything because of who he is now.
There's that rotating spectacle of everything Eddie Guerrero did was world class, and it's like that's not the case. And
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
every match has an extenuating circumstance as to whether what you see it as, and also Eddie Guerrero during that period was really fucked up with drugs and shit like that. That doesn't help either. I mean, if you look at the size of him, he was on the gas, and he was but it's that thing of if you're looking at it from what's a better product, 97, 98 or 2000, 2001. Like, to be honest, even 2000, 2001, I can sit there and say a lot of what Vince Russo did give to the product in the earlier years was still there in terms of, the trickle down effect. But it's that thing of, was the product as better with Vince Russo than when he left? Arguably, you could argue 2000, 2001 are the most successful years WWF ever had in terms of financial. So, what do you look at it as? Do you look at it just from a fan and say, did we have as many stars? Yes, but they were doing different things. Like Undertaker and Kane weren't necessarily like Kane for me wasn't as hot around that period as he was in 97 and 98. But then at the same time, Shawn Michaels came back in 2002 and set the world alight with his quality of work. Triple H kicked into gear very nicely, ironically, right after Vince Russo left, which is interesting. Like, but then like 2000 saw the emergence of the Radicals, and then we saw obviously guys from WCW who, ironically enough, Vince Russo helped, WCW. So it's the crossover. Like I think people have this assumption that I think everything Vince Russo did was shit, and it's like that's not the case at all. He did some great things for our business, but he just spent so long. And to be honest, I don't really take umbrage with what Vince Russo did in WWF at all. Like I think overall he did a really good job. It's then when he goes to WCW and you think most of that was trash. I'm sorry, but it was. And the ratings prove it. They were bleeding money.
No. When he got
$7 million lost in 2000.
JL said it. JL said it on Anderson. Again, this is supposed to be about news in general. I just asked one question, but what I'm going to end it with, and I'll go back to you. JL said it. Bill Goldberg said it. Arn Anderson said it. The company was going down already. It's not like Vince Russo just killed it.
Goldberg has gone on record many times as saying that everything Vince Russo did smelled like shit.
And yet Vince Russo got him a bigger payday. So yeah, good for him.
Did he though?
He did.
Wasn't Goldberg on big money regardless before?
He was on big money, but again, I'm only going by what Vince Russo was saying in his podcast. He got him an extra 1.4 million.
Like it's not literally. It's not like everything he did in WCW was trash, but I can guarantee if we said, right, we're going to do a full omnibus of everything Vince Russo has done from the start to the finish, and we do, if we got 20 hours available, sure. Like,
I've got that. I'll find a way.
I would love to have Vince Russo on and say, right, I want to sit down and I want to run through every single thing you've done And I will be happy to say that was fucking great. What you done with us, that was fucking cool. What you done with The Rock was amazing. What you done with The Undertaker, some of the stuff you get. And one of the comments that always stays with me from him is during that Monday Night Wars documentary when he said, I would like to take credit not for their roles as stars, because at the end of the day, they still got to go out there and present themselves as stars. He says, I like to think that I gave them good material to work with each and every week. And that is, ironically enough for me, the thing that he should lean his legacy on more is that, because that is something that he did do really fucking well, is provide so many guys like them, and also a lot of the undercard guys like Val Venus and Rikishi and, you know, Albert and Tess, like they were given something better than maybe they would have got without Vince Russo being there at that time. That's never been in question for me. So if Vince Russo comes up to me and says, I hear you fucking hate me. No, I don't hate you, but I hate the work that you, for instance, his stuff in TNA was trash, pure trash. People were chanting Fire Russo in the Impact Zone. Come on. But nobody's saying that Vince Russo is exclusively the only person who's written shit. Let's not forget, we had the necrophilia angle long after it got WWE. Gosh. Like that was
literally, I was going to say that, but I thought
Vince McMahon's like, oh yeah, but it's funny, pal. It's like, no, it isn't. It's fucking terrible, Vince. Like, you know, like he's not. You can't blame Vince Russo for everything, but you can blame him for the stuff he did wrong. Because if we're going to hold everyone else to that accountability and say that was shit, like Ed Ferrari brought him in, that was fucking trash, by the way. That was awful, and it was offensive as well, and it was just disrespectful in a time where it was like we're starting to become more sensitive to people's ideals and physical ailments. He's on commentary mocking someone with Bell's palsy, right? And Vince Russo's the guy who signed off on that, so he needs to be held accountable for that. We're not saying that alone is why you're a piece of shit, but what we're saying is you need to be held accountable for that, and you need to be able to stick your neck out and apologize for that. I've never heard Vince Russo once say that was a mistake.
You know what he has said? He said that when he was backstage in WWF, Bruce Pritchard, Vince McMahon, Gerald Briscoe used to mock him all the time, and he used to have like.
So basically, what you're saying is it's okay to
no.
Just because, like, you see, that's what I mean. Like,
no, I'm saying I'm saying it's not good. Me personally, Gabe was saying it's not good. I think Russo justifies by saying, because McMahon did it, Briscoe and Pritchard did it, it's fine. I'm like, no, you shouldn't do it full stop. That's me personally. But
like,
he said,
you know, Vince Russo as an adult should know better than to be like, yeah, we don't like the fact that he was bullied and abused. Like, from what I can tell, Jim Cornette made his life hell. Ooh, he did. Yeah. Like, and there's no denying it. Jim Cornette will make that very, 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 very clear on his podcast several occasions. And I love Jim Cornette. I do. I think he's done overwhelmingly far more for the business than he has hurt it. But even he's made bad mistakes. He's done stupid booking. I've seen some shit that he's done in Ring of Honor, which I'm like, Jesus, that's terrible. Right? Yeah. You know, but it is that thing of the difficulty is you to really break that down and say, did he do well for the company or did he not? Or did he have a good career or did he not? You've got to sit down and go through everything, not just cherry pick the things that we don't like.
True.
Because I could say 3 Stages of Hell was crap, or the 3T Cage, should I say, from WCW was crap. Therefore, fuck it. Vince Russo's a twat, but it's like, well, what about all the stuff he did that was really good? Providing great material for Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. You got to balance it and then say overall, for instance, with all of us, all 3 of us, when we call it a day in British wrestling, we want to be able to look back and know that the overwhelming majority of what we did benefited our business. Yeah. And that's what we have to look at with Vince Russo. Has the overwhelming impact that you've given our business been positive compared to some of the shit that you've done? And the problem is that he just seemed to be relentlessly tainting his own career year after year on the back end and making it worse and worse. And that's what people remember, don't they? They remember what you did last, which is a shame. Yeah. But, you know, perception is reality. Also, something about AEW on a list. Right? I swear we were talking about that at some point.
It was.
But yeah, no, the bottom line is, for me, with the AEW list, I think it's a joke that it's taken 4 years to point out to people that they shouldn't be trying to spike themselves on their heads and die. Like, that should have kind of been from the get-go.
You know what? I'm going to ask a question. Is it Dante Martin? That's his name. Is Dante Martin? Is his name?
The guy who fucked his leg really badly. Yeah. Like...
What's the official timeline that he's out for now? What's the official timeline? We don't know.
No idea, but you would assume it would be months and months to rehab something of that nature. All because of one decision. What, did he take like a Canadian destroyer for a table to the outside? Like, what are you doing? By the way, don't get me started on QT Marshall going over Pentagon Jr. at Triple A. Who wrote that? Like, Pentagon is literally royalty in Mexico. I'll tell you what, we'll bring in an onion with a haircut and have him go over him.
Maybe Conan. You know, Conan's he's big over there, isn't it? So.
Well, do you know what Conan is like? He seems to get away with a lot, but he's done. A lot of shit. And like, if we're gonna hold Vince Russo for his accountability,
Anton, go on. You remember you obviously I was talking big about Conan, and you kept showing me all these old AAA stuff and saying, Gable, you see how good he is? Remember? And basically he was burying Conan. Come on. Come on, Anton.
But that's not what Aaron's trying to. Aaron's saying he needs to be held accountable, so I was holding him accountable. What's your problem?
Go on. You said
you're not a fan of Conan.
No, I did like
Conan. Basically saying that his booking in AAA was no good.
No, I didn't. I wasn't talking about his booking in AAA because I don't know anything about his booking in AAA. I was saying about how he was one of the early ones who did a lot of like really big advanced moves, but he just literally just plodded through. Like, I'm doing that move now, that move. Like, they're really good moves. And at the time when I was watching it, I used to think that, oh, like, all these moves he's doing. But you watch him, it's like there was no conviction to him putting the moves on. And I was showing you some video of that, and you're like, oh, okay, you've ruined him for me now because you agreed with it. So I don't know what you're linking that to book it for.
Oh, he's gone quiet now.
No, not that. What
Anton finally bites.
No. Why I said is that I appreciate Conan's work. I'm saying as a booker, again, he has done. I think again from the bits that I do know about AAA and everything, he has done good for them. But at the same time, didn't he bring? Was it Mark again? Is it Mark Corleone or is it Mark Ginver? And again, try to make him something over there. He brought Rey Mysterio back over there. Try to make him something over there. Big Show, a few other guys as well. Try to make some over there. But yeah.
Fair enough. Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on the list, Anton? Anything else you want to add?
Go on, Sheep.
Nah, I mean, like you say, there's that stuff. It is. If this is the first time they've come up with something like that, it has taken them a while, but I suppose better late than never. That's the only thing I mean, it is a good thing to have the protocols.
Oh yeah.
And you'd like to think there was at least some sort of guidance, like with some of the guys that we've mentioned there. But yeah, I mean, as you say, at least if they're taking that sort of initiative now, let's see if it does make if we notice there's any sort of like real noticeable changes going forward. But yeah. It's not a bad idea to have protocols.
Well, here's something to get you debating about. Sean Spears of AEW believes that he has the best entrance in professional wrestling. Entrances are a crucial part of the professional wrestling industry, setting the tone for a character. AEW Sean Spears believes that he has the best entrance in the business. Tell me a better entrance in the game today, Spears challenged on Twitter. Don't worry, I'll wait. Play it loud. Any credibility, do you think, to Sean Spears' claim that he has the best entrance in professional wrestling right now?
I can't think of his entrance.
Mr. 10.
I remember that when he was tied in.
What
does he? I'm not being in a.
Comes out the smoke. He's got cool gear. No denying it looks cool. Aesthetically very pleasing for TV. But, again, looks like for me, it just looks like he's trying to wind up the internet more than anything.
Probably is, yeah. And he's right in a sense.
Because he's a mark.
I think an entrance is a big, and when you think about it, there's not that many sort of distinctive ones.
No.
Now, I mean, you had Goldberg before, like,
What about Seth Rollins?
But his main thing is the noise, isn't it? It's just the singing along. Same with Cody.
Stupid.
Like before, obviously you had Undertaker as a real significant one, who's now retired. I mean, so Bray Wyatt, who's off TV at the moment. So I mean, I can't say like one that leaps out to me right now is like, oh, that's still a very distinctive entrance. Like I say, it's like main thing seems to be now is like Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes have got the sing along part, whereas like where people sing along with their music, that's kind of what constitutes. But there's nothing elaborate about the way they come out or like the setting they've got. The last one to really have that leaps out to me would be like because even like Roman Reigns.
He used to come out through the crowd, mate.
It's just the music, which is cool. Like in a way he just comes out with it. But again, there's nothing sort of production-wise. Doesn't mean it's a bad entrance. It's just not production-wise. So
I think a lot of it's bland, personally. I think a lot of entrances today.
Yeah, I mean, it would be good to have.
Nothing spicy about it.
What's the greatest entrance of all time?
See, I'm not going to say Undertaker because I used to hate some of his entrances, but I used to back in the day. I used to think his entrance, like why was the greatest entrance, like it was almost like a black screen.
Yeah.
For most of the time, like you used to watch it, it's a black screen.
You don't like it when he floated to the ring at WrestleMania on the little, and they had all the
That's
smoke.
what I mean. Sometimes, and it does create an atmosphere. I've got a greater appreciation for it. Sort of.
Do we isolate entrances as well? because as a one-time deal, I can't get over how good Rusev with a Russian tank was and all.
Yeah, I think, but yeah, like I said,
that was fucking gangster.
That was, yeah, but that's more like a WrestleMania type thing, isn't it? Like you get John Cena with his army of like Cenas and stuff like that.
That was danger, man. That was danger.
But that's like their exception. That's not the like Goldberg's entrance was
Goldberg, yeah,
a regular thing and distinctive.
Yeah.
Obviously Shawn Michaels used to do his sort of like dance to the ring. That you get
you know what? Hate there between you and Sean.
You know what? I'm a big grown up. I love Brett growing up, so I hate Shawn Michaels. But it was that thing. Basically, again, I'm showing my age now. Being back in school and everything, I used to say Shawn Michaels. Again, forgive me, I was much younger. People, I say he's a. Can I say it here, or do I have to be careful what I say here?
No, you can say whatever you like.
Basically, when I was a kid, I say he was gay. Like, which man's man walks around basically in this.
He played on that as well, didn't he?
Yeah, this YMCA cowboy all shuttling around. I'm thinking I'm cute, all the sexy. Like, who does that?
Remember when he was simulating, like, sucking cock, for instance?
Yeah,
like he would play up to it. Like he knew that people saw him as gay. Like, but then again, that's what, for instance, like for me, Goldust has one of the most underrated overall entrances ever.
Yeah.
Like, it was so edgy. It was so different. I love the whole idea of stage and screen, the Golden Globes, and all this kind of stuff. Like, the way he came out, the music, the tone, the overtly sexual nature of what he was doing was so like, revolutionary for the time. I know that, obviously people like Adrian Street had really kind of lent themselves to it far more. And that's something that obviously modern day wrestling fans aren't even going to know about, which is a shame because without that, you don't get Goldust really. No. But at the same time, it's like, Sean Spears, does he have the best entrance in the game right now? All right, you've got all the bells and whistles and the smoke and the play it now and the chairman and the perfect 10 stuff. And that's relatively entertaining. But, it's subjective as well.
Yeah, and I
what
think
goes into an entrance, what goes into the music. People don't like. For instance, Gabe doesn't like Seth Rollins, but that entrance seems to resonate. It really gets going. They love it.
That's true.
The music works for him.
I think a lot of it as well. It's like it's no disrespect, but it's your. Some people don't need to have the elaborate entrance because they're so over. But like Steve Austin. Just coming out to that glass break and just marching to the ring. Yeah, like he's the BMF.
Cody's entrance is a little bit like that. It's very simple. The smoke, bang, and he just does the whoa.
And it's the pop.
Goes mad.
Yeah,
but it's so simple, but it's so effective because it doesn't need to be anything more. Sometimes your entrance does.
I think that's the thing.
Maybe Sean Spears needs all the bells and whistles because he's quite mundane. Maybe that's.
I think that's why he doesn't sort of stand out to me. Yeah, and again, I'm not trying to be horrible to him and be bitchy, but it's like it's no. That I can't even think of I know who he is, and I can't really picture his entrance. Whereas, like I get like the Road Warriors just coming out, just it's an aura. The way they just come out with that music and it just coming, like the shoulder pads and just barging through. So it's the
Sid
aura.
Vicious.
Yeah,
for me personally, I love Sid Vicious.
Yeah,
the music makes that. Yeah, that's awesome.
So he probably wouldn't need that if he had that aura about him, if he had that level, like felt like a major player. So maybe it'll come. But at the moment, it's more entrance than
more entrance than personality.
Yeah, it doesn't really make a big deal. It hasn't made him the megastar.
With Austin, with Rock, with Undertaker, Mankind, who had a great entrance. All of these guys, it was ostensibly more about the personality blending with the entrance. Whereas with Sean Spears, it's just an entrance. Where's your personality? Where's, okay, you say perfect 10, great, whatever. Like the Ty Dillinger thing died a death as soon as he got on the main roster because all of a sudden it was just a guy saying 10, 10, 10. That was it. That was all it was. And you know what? The really unpopular opinion is you can make the argument for Daniel Bryan is he is over if he goes yes. Like his wrestling is incredible. Some of the best technical wrestling the world has ever seen. But is he ostensibly a strong personality in wrestling as an actual wrestler, kayfabe? Not really. Not in my opinion.
Go on, Anton. I know you're thinking. I know you're probably thinking he's 50-50 in it. I know he's possible.
I mean, that is such a strong part of his that.
But really his gimmick is that he's not a personality as such. He's not a larger-than-life, colourful character. His personality is built within his wrestling.
But he's got that
sort of out-wrestle everybody.
Yeah, and he's got that appreciation from people that it's like you still feel like he is a big deal. Because I think even when he hasn't really played into the yes stuff.
Until he got to AEW.
Yeah. I mean, Well, because there was even that point just before he went to AEW where he once they just wanted to slot him back into a feud contending for the title with Roman Reigns. It's like you straight away take him
No.
he belongs in that role. I did. Like, I feel like even though he'd been losing, like he could lose to Cesaro and things like that. It's like they did downplay him, but as soon as they want to plug him back in,
well, he's guilty of his own. He's guilty of his own kind of humble nature as well, isn't he? Because he was the guy who would happily. A lot of guys would say, "No, I'm not going to go out there and job to Cesaro. I'm not going to go on and put on a 20-minute class." Whereas Daniel Bryan was the guy who would be like, "Yeah, I'll go out there and wrestle fucking anyone and have a great match."
And he did do. I mean, even the feud he just had with MJF though, like that felt like a big deal. You know, like, and as soon as you plug him back in, you've had him losing like in AEW. Like obviously he came in as a contender for the title. Then he kind of like he's just like sort of middle ground. But as soon as they want to plug him back, he's a contender for the title. You accept him and you're into him. You know, like, and that was a good contrast to him and MJF. So to me, it's like I think maybe it is like, you know, and that's not, he doesn't really play on the yes chance now, does he? Like in AEW, he hasn't really played up to him. So yeah, he still does feel like to me, I still feel like he fits in that role as like he's a somebody. Like he still feels like a player when they want to plug him into that role. Otherwise, he's just a wrestler at times, and then want to plug him into something. It's like you take him as a big deal. That's how I perceive him.
Anyone see Don Callis being attacked by a fan this weekend?
I did, yeah. Well, it wasn't a fan though, was it? I think it turned out it was actually.
It was a wrestler, isn't it?
It was Scurry.
Was
when I watched the video, it looked like the guy after he's grabbed him, all of a sudden he's like leading him up, and I thought, is that a fact? It was, yeah. Apparently the security wasn't clued into what's going on.
This is the latest article on it. It says obviously it was a Triple Mania, Triple AR's Triple Mania 31 Tijuana event. The Tijuana event saw Kenny Omega and Don Callis continue their ongoing feud. At the post-show press conference, Callis's protege, Konosuke Take a Shitter, as MJF likes to say. Hester is his name, bless him. I mean, to be fair, it's spelt like that, bruv. You're going to have to suck it up. Attack the AEW star to continue their rivalry. Callis was present at the time too, and one fan saw it as an opportunity to attack the heel manager. The incident doesn't appear to be a work, according to Brian Alvarez of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, so take that with a pinch of salt. Who was present when it all went down, and he detailed the events. The journalist claimed that the attack took place while security was breaking up the exchange between Takeshita and Omega, and the attacker legitimately hurt Callis. Everything was an angle up to that point, but then a fan who was apparently upset about what Don had said to Kenny jumped Don from behind, ripped his suit, concussed his eardrum, and busted open his mouth while he was trying to choke out Don from behind, Alvarez said. Don was screaming profanities at the fan before he was pulled off and was said to be livid afterwards.
But hasn't it turned out that it was actually a security? It wasn't a fan. It was security like that weren't clued in. He was
essentially. I haven't seen.
I did. Yeah, I think that's what it turned out to be. It wasn't a fan. That's what they assumed, but it was actually like the security. A guy, overzealous security guy, took him down, thinking that he'd probably like invaded the press conference, and then all of a sudden he clued in. Oh, damn! I think that's what I like a follow-up report that I saw, and when you watch the video, it does look like that because the guy is holding on the floor, and all of a sudden they just get up, and the guy who attacked him is walking with him. So I think it's a security guy that didn't realize that that was supposed to happen.
Somebody's
thought he's doing his job, taking him down and
busting his face.
No, he shouldn't have done. Yeah, I mean, but again, I mean, obviously he's not a very good security guy. He's not very good at just
Conan again, isn't it? Conan, our buddy Conan.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's not good. Yeah, it's not good that he obviously, he can, he did concuss him, didn't he? And
I think that for me, it's two sides. Again, I was going to say, Aeron, one thing I've always talked about with Anton, I said, I want the kind of heat where, like all the analysts used to say, that the crowd hates you so much they want to stab you. Don't stab me, but come close to it. If you want to try, but I'll take you out. But
stop it! Don't forget, I tagged with you.
We're going after people. We're going after you, so don't worry. But I want to get so much heat that you guys will say, you know what, I want to near kill this guy. But at the same time, security come defend, do whatever. But at the same time, again, if it was England, for sure, that security guy will be fired. There is absolutely no way the security guy could bust up. Even a member from the public, you couldn't bust his face up, sternum, and that sort of thing, get away with it. No way. But again, obviously, he's in Mexico. Yeah, I do like Mexico, but at the same time,
Mexico is a little bit more of a wild kind of territory. Yeah. It still has a little bit more of that, where fans still will believe that it's real, like to a point. Puerto Rico obviously is one of the most famous for it, with the amount of stabbings and fucking just horrible things happening in car parks with wrestlers, and even wrestlers themselves murdering each other backstage, sadly, with Bruiser Brody and things like that. It's pretty grim. Yeah, the problem is I don't know whether it is a work or not, so I can't really comment on it as much. Like Brian Alvarez says, is that this fan, but then there might have been more evidence that's come out, and they're like, yeah, we planted the guy or whatever.
Probably did. To be fair, they probably did. No one them. They probably did anyway. So, but yeah, as I said, when I saw it, I kind of laughed because I thought I knew it was coming. I thought one day there's some fool that's going to get him one way or another. So
yeah,
but, yeah,
it is what it is.
But to be fair, I'm surprised it wasn't Kenny. I'm surprised because obviously this whole AEW, CM Punk and the Elite, everybody else. I'm surprised one of Cornette's, I say Cornette fans, but CM Punk's fans didn't come out and just.
Would have been a perfect time for CM Punk to attack him, wouldn't it? Jump him, throw a dog at him. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. In sad news, unfortunately, Elton Prince has a separated shoulder and unfortunately will be out for a number of months. Part of obviously Pretty Deadly. I imagine you two know the guy relatively well. You've probably worked on shows with him, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah, a couple of shows with Lewis. More so with Kit Wilson because he was Sammy Smooth, but we did work shows with Lewis as well.
We did. Damn, how did he do that?
During his match, I believe. He tweeted out, he said, so to set people straight before they get all pissy, it wasn't the belly to belly. It was a wonky landing from the pounce out of my control. Wishing Elton Prince a speedy recovery. That was actually tweeted by Ridge Holland, who, of course, already has a bit of heat on him, doesn't he? Because of what happened with Big E and the neck breaking, So, unfortunately, Ridge Holland kind of has the unfortunate reputation of being known as the male Nia Jax.
What do you think of him?
I think he's actually got a lot of upside.
Okay.
He looks good. He's obviously worked very hard. Big unit, not good on the mic, I would say, not fantastic. Like I don't know if you saw the Hollywood promos they were doing to kind of hype WrestleMania, but the one he did where he was having his chest waxed was very amusing. I thought it was quite funny, like very British though. It was very British.
Oh yeah.
I felt like Americans wouldn't get it. They probably just thought it was gay, whereas the British, like we're a bit more camping. We love like Carry On Camping and all that kind of stuff, and it lent itself to that, the Monty Python more kind of style of humor. But yeah, like I think he's in the right role. I don't think he's got much more upside than that. Maybe sort of like he could, partake in a Money in the Bank or something like that. But I don't see him winning a major belt. I think his biggest upside would probably be as a tag team champion for the Brawling Brutes. That would probably be the most I'd see out of him. But then again, he was also he was a professional rugby league player, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
I think that's still pretty cool that you're able to transition and do his stuff. And to be fair, he has been good. I will say one thing: he was magnificent in War Games. If anyone saw the War Games match that he was in, that was his best performance by far. He was brilliant in that. He really played that role of the destroyer who kind of had his placeholder until the big guns came at the end. He did really well in that match and deserved a lot of credit for it. So I actually think he's got a good upside. I think he's obviously seems like a lovely guy. So I feel bad for him because it's that thing of I'm sure he didn't want Big E to break his neck. Like obviously not. Like these things happen. I mean, we saw what happened to D'Lo Brown, obviously with Droz, who sadly passed away recently and stuff. Like it can really have an effect on you. And I think fans need to remember that. Yes, it is disappointing when these things happen, but these wrestlers don't actively go out. The idea of injuring these people permanently or giving them severe injuries in mind. Shit does happen a lot in our business. Like freak accidents. I've seen so many wrestlers tear an ACL or break a bone off of something as mundane as like just taking a standard bump or a clothesline. Something can happen at any point. Nadia Sapphire, who obviously I'm very close to, like she tore her ACL and ruined her knee. And I asked her, how'd you do that? She went, I was sat on the second rope and I just jumped off it and landed funny.
Oof.
That was it. That was it. And that cost her ostensibly about 2 or 3 years of her career. Just from that. Anything can happen at any point. So Ridge Holland isn't actively going out to injure people. I'm not saying it's good. And obviously you need to be very careful with these moves. And again, it's why you're taking like a belly-to-belly suplex on the outside. AEW is not the only one that does this stupid shit. It's just that unfortunately they have a higher frequency of it. So it's disappointing, but obviously we wish Elton Prince obviously well, and hopefully he'll obviously come back stronger because I felt like Pretty Deadly. I disagree with Jim Cornette, which is rare for me. I think Pretty Deadly are fantastic for the main roster. I think they add a little bit of pomp and circumstance, and I think having he was saying like, they're camp and they're too gay and all this and not manly enough, and I'm like, Rock and Roll Express, bruv, come on, like.
True.
Sorry, but like there are like some teams make it work. The Rockers
Yeah.
were exactly the most masculine fucking performers I ever saw. There's a number of people, and again, we look back at guys like Adrian Street and Goldust who made an entire career off of being overtly camp and uniquely sexual and different. And I think it's just one of those things where a lot of people don't get it because they're trying to be extremely masculine. And then you see Pretty Deadly, and it's like they don't actually have to be over the top masculine. Also, their work rate is great. They have world-class matches. And that's not just us speaking from, I've been lucky enough to be, in like ring crew for shows that they've been on before they made it big. And they're a joy to be around, but they worked extremely hard, extremely hard. And I felt like WWE needed something different in the tag team division. This was perfect for it. And unfortunately, with that injury, that's derailed that. So fingers crossed, when he does come back, they can build up a body of work and show people what they can do, because they deserve that opportunity, if nothing else. So that's obviously unfortunate news. Right. So what we normally tend to do on the State of Wrestling Address is I have a list every single week. And what we do is I ask everyone to kind of pitch in, and each list is unique every single week. So this week, the list is pro wrestlers that hate each other in real life. And I want you to tell me whether the heat is frankly justified or if maybe it's a little bit overblown and both men should just grow the fuck up. So it's something as simple as that. And then just generally sort of give us your opinion on the list. Now, this list is provided by Wrestling Inc. It's not provided by me. So this is a list of wrestlers that have heat with each other. And I want you to kind of just give your context and opinion on it. And we start with Bret the Hitman Hart and Goldberg. Obviously, Starrcade 99 is where it all goes through. There's obviously the stiff kick, which led to, potentially Bret Hart having a stroke. Different things are involved here. There's a lot of heat and stuff like that. Do you feel that at this point, anybody's at fault for this, or maybe this, or do you think it's even justified being on this list as one of the big one-on-one rivalries in terms of real heat?
I'll go first. Funny enough, me and Andrew spoke about this the other day, man. Speaking of and again, anybody knows me, Bret's my guy. Bret's always been my guy from day one. Bret, then it's Sid Vicious. But yes, Goldberg was wrong. But at the same time, it sounds stupid, but he didn't mean to. He's like a kid. He didn't mean to do it. And yes, we know that the kick gave Bret a concussion. But at the same time, as Anton said before, when I spoke to him, what did Bret do afterwards? He was still coming out unnatural. He was still doing chair shots from Terry Funk and from, who was it? I think it was...
Powerbomb off Nash.
That's it. Yeah. He was still doing loads of things afterwards. Didn't get himself physically checked out. And he even said his book, which I've got, is old. Look at it. It's a book that I've had for years.
That is a proper vintage. I see that in a library. That's good.
I'll tell you, even his old book, he said that he didn't really go to the doctor until like 3 or 4 weeks after it even happened. Again, I can understand that. Okay, yes, he's thinking the kick happened, and then what? 2 or 3 years down the line, bam, I had a stroke, and my life's never been the same since. I get that. And again, it's weird because I'm a Bret guy, but at the same time, Goldberg didn't need to do it. He apologized profusely, even to this day. He's like, "Look, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. He's done it in interviews and everything." But even Goldberg said, "What more can I do? What more can I do?" And the thing is, Goldberg saying, "I don't hate you. It's more you hate me, but I don't hate you." So personally, I'll say I understand why Bret dislikes him and hates him and wants to remove from the Hall of Fame, which is stupid in itself. But at the same time, it's like, Bret, I love you, man, but this just
let it go, innit?
Yeah.
Let it go.
I think that
you've had a stroke. To me, again, from myself, and again, we've all had illnesses, we all have illnesses, we clear up and everything. But the thing is, he had the stroke, and through the stroke, even he said it did change his life, it did change his perspective. I'm not saying you need to go for a stroke to change your perspective and everything, but it's that thing where I don't know. I don't know, Aeron. I'm trying to think of the word for it. Where the stroke wasn't good, but at the same time, I don't know. I admit I'm kind of stuck on that last bit because I don't want to say an illness will make you a better person. But from what Bret's saying is that his perspective on life and how he treats people, how he even deals with his family and everything for the better happened because of the stroke. So maybe
he's in a good place, isn't he? I mean that's the thing where it's not. I mean, it's a real sad thing. I think that's probably going to be one of the hardest things for him is to come to terms with the fact that he had to stop wrestling.
Yeah,
and he had to give that up, and even to this point when he came back, like about 10 years ago. It's like he couldn't go like he, like he would have been able to go. Even like, like Ricky Steamboat came back.
What about the classic with Vince McMahon at WrestleMania? You know what? Like, I don't know about you, Gabe, but it's like Bret Hart is my guy as well. Bret Hart is literally the reason I love wrestling. He's my favorite wrestler of all time. I have literally all things Bret Hart. I even like have a fucking leather jacket I'll wear to the ring, which is kind of in homage of him in that respect. And like, I really do feel like, Bret needs to kind of get over it with that. Like,
I think there was also a point. I'm not sure, with like on one of the documentaries or something like that. There was a time where Bret was talking about it, and he was saying about like, obviously, like that, and he was quite sort. I think it might have been on his documentary, the best, when WWE produced one, like his video set, his DVD set.
Yeah.
And he was saying it's a shame that it was someone he as like good-hearted as Bill did it to him. So it was almost like he kind of like, like he didn't hate Bill Goldberg for it. It was kind of like. But obviously, it's like that somber. Whereas now it feels like he's kind of taken more of an issue with and saying about he should never have been. I think that's the thing. It's like WWE needed to have looked after him better, and perhaps it wouldn't have led to him having to quit completely and wouldn't have had the stroke.
Wasn't Vince Russo in charge at that point?
I think he was on leave. Let's give him credit. He was on leave. Didn't he have his own concussion or something at that time?
He was on leave.
Vince Russo definitely had a concussion.
He was around.
No, he wasn't. No,
he was
wasn't
around.
It? Actually, no, because it was his idea to. Wasn't it? Was his idea for Tank Abbott to win the title?
Yeah, it was. It was.
So Vince was around at that time. He was around at that time.
He was. I admit. He was
on duty. But
to be fair, Tank Abbott was a big deal in UFC at the time. So
no question. Yeah, he was also in Friends, mate. I mean, good
I think it's one of those things. I do feel like it's a shame that Bret can't, that he still has that sort of feeling towards him and that sort of venom, because a lot of people sort of crap on Goldberg, but at the same time,
meltdowns, hasn't he, Bret, over the last couple of years?
I think sometimes he gets quite vocal, like Hulk Hogan, especially. Like he's really sort of ramped up his sort of dislike.
It's the 4 out of 10 thing, isn't it? That everyone sort of mentions that, and
he brings up a lot about the.
I don't want his legacy to be that remembered as the old man who whinged at the clouds, because literally he was at one point the greatest professional wrestler in the world. Not even close, and he gave so much to this business and all that, and it's like, I just don't. I'm worried that modern fans are gonna just have one thing in mind, and his legacy is that he's the winged guy on Twitter,
which would be a massive shame, because like you say, he should be sort of held in reverence, like and certain people do.
But you know what I think? I know you guys may agree with me. Bill Goldberg came WWE what 2003. He had that terrible run, and I think what it was because he came back and had such a big response when he came back, when he beat Lesnar, was it two times? What it was 2 times, won the belt from Kevin Owens, had that big moment at WrestleMania. Maybe Bret looks at that and is like, you know what? That should be me. Or that could have been me. That could have been me with Kurt Angle.
I think a lot of his dislike, like, and his criticism stuff probably does stem from a little bit like inside him. It's like it's taken away from him, and his career meant so much to him, like in his actual like his art form, that I think that probably bothers him a lot.
Think about it. I would have loved to have seen Bret versus Kurt Angle. Or Bret versus even Brock.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the saddest things as well, is I think because we probably would have got that, because it was only like about 3 years after that when like Angle and Lesnar were at their, like they'd hit the prominence in WWE. So you can imagine he probably would have come back. We would have got a Lesnar. Right. You can imagine, I mean, that even Lesnar of then.
Yeah.
What we were sort of like robbed of, and Kurt Angle, like those, they would have been absolute classics.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I will briefly brush over this list because I wasn't expecting to have a 20 minutes about Goldberg Bret Hart. That's all right.
You know us by now.
That's all right. No, that's fair enough. Hey, more content the better. CM Punk and Ryback is on this list. I don't know if anyone remembers the issues with CM Punk having a whinge on his podcast with Colt Cabana when he obviously left WWE and finally spoke up. He said, I'm already beat up and I have to wrestle steroid guy. I call it like it is. He's very hurty. Sometimes deliberate. There was one time he kicked me in the stomach as hard as he could, and he broke my ribs right at the tail end, and I never got an apology for that. Do you think CM Punk has a right to be enraged with Ryback, and do we think that Ryback was a bit of a shit steroid worker?
Personally, I'll say, and forget my language, CM Punk, you're a pussy, mate. The reason I call you a pussy, because I'm saying, listen, you said it on his Colt Cabana's podcast and everything. You were there with the guy. If the guy kicked your ribs and broke your ribs, as you want to say, yo, Ryback, what's up? What are you doing? You kicked your ribs and everything. What's wrong with you?
Didn't he say that he, like, on that podcast though? Didn't he said, well, yeah, CM Punk's word, that he said, are you like intentional, or are you just like an idiot or something like that, or you just like? And he said that Ryback said I'm an idiot or something like that.
You believe that?
I'm saying that. So from his viewpoint, from what he put across, is he did sort of confront him on it backstage, and it's almost like Ryback sort of took it. That's his version of it. That Ryback sort of like backed down and said, like didn't say, yeah, I did it. So what?
No. I'm not saying, oh yeah, Ryback should say, okay, yeah, I did it. So what? But more, okay, apology, blah 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 blah, whatever. But it's like,
so and by that, yeah, I mean by that time, what's that?
Handle your business, like Gabe said. Like, fucking deal with it. Deal with it in a moment. Don't wait a couple of years and then go on the podcast and cry like a little baby back bitch about it.
And again, does Ryback hate him? From what I hear, no.
I mean, Ryback has put some tweets out having a go at him and basically
okay.
the buyers, like in recent memory. Ryback took to Twitter after Punk announced that he had to have surgery in the week which he won the AEW World Championship. Ryback took to Twitter and posted karma rules.
Fair enough.
A bit of a fucking dig in it. Like, so,
maybe he did do it on purpose. Maybe he did.
Maybe. Both as bad as each other. Grow up.
Yeah.
Hurricane Helms and Shawn Michaels apparently had quite a bit of heat backstage. Hurricane Helms once tweeted in 2011, Ric Flair got over people that absolutely sucked. Shawn hadn't got over anyone but himself in the last decade. Helms replied that HBK had harmed his career simply because he could, and added that Michaels loved to lie for his own benefit, although he did say in 2019 there is no longer heat between the two as they both work in the WWE system. Anton,
he's your guy. Go on, defend him.
What, Hurricane Helms?
No, Shawn Michaels. Anton's guy. Go on, Anton, defend him.
What actually did he say happened between them? What was his reason for?
He was a snake.
Is it? I mean, if he's just saying he didn't get people over, I mean,
no, he was a snake. He was a backstabber. He didn't put over Shelton Benjamin. I know what you're talking about. He's talking about with the shoot with, I think it was with Matt Hardy when he was like half drunk and everything, and Shannon Moore. Basically, he was saying like, again, I'm a Christian. Again, I'm not perfect and everything, but basically he's saying like Shawn Michaels walk around a Christian. He's acting perfect, but he's swearing, he's doing this, he's doing that. He's not putting over Shelton Benjamin.
Horrendous reputation for Michaels. The one that really stands out to me is when he got Marty Jannetty fired. By saying, now, Marty Jannetty, to be fair, had his own demons, was his own problem in many ways. But rather famously, the first time Marty Jannetty was fired, he was backstage having a nap in the locker room. Shawn Michaels went to Vince McMahon and claimed that he was drunk and passed out when he actually wasn't. He was just having a nap.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah.
Snitches get stitches here at the Wrestle Club,
mate. He definitely was. He's first, like that time around, like he was.
You, Sean, you're getting a shanking, mate.
But is Helms talking about stuff like the after
when he came back? His comeback.
Because that's the thing. Because you can't. Yeah, I mean, obviously, everybody says he was a.
No, he was talking about his comeback
that time.
Because even
so what did he do there? I mean, that's the thing. Like
same thing, like you said.
One of the problems is Helms hasn't really said what Shawn Michaels did. He just said he's an asshole. When it's like, well, at least give us some clarity.
Yeah, I think you can't.
He was like,
can't really speak to it unless you know
I'm
what.
I'm not defending Shawn Michaels because he was a little prick. Apparently,
he was.
He definitely the first time around. Like that's widely sort of everybody says that he's accepted it now. So. Yeah, anything he's done sort of
He found God, so he's on your team now, Gabe.
well, again, just because you say you found God, don't.
So did Vince Russo, didn't he? He found God, and you accepted him into your clan.
Just because you say you found God.
No, I'm putting it out there. Just because you say you found God doesn't mean you actually have. Your actions prove it. Again, we're not perfect, but again, you're supposed to live it.
It's a bit hard to prove how you found God, though, isn't it? Like
people say he was never lost. I mean,
Plus, in my book, Jinder Mahal's God, so we've all found it. There's others on this list. Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair had quite a bit of spat backstage.
Piss off, Becky. Piss off. She's jealous.
Yeah, like Becky. The one that stands out to me on this, Hulk Hogan and Bret Hart, of course, with what happened. Basically, Hulk Hogan refused to put over Bret Hart. And Hulk Hogan is kind of very much like Shawn Michaels before Shawn Michaels in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, from a wrestling perspective, I do think Hulk Hogan should have put him over. So I do. His defense is saying that he never agreed that he was going to do it, and Vince McMahon sort of led Bret on, which
you shouldn't have to
play.
Agree.
I was going to say
that should have said to Hulk Hogan, "You're doing the fucking job."
Exactly. I was going to say you shouldn't choose Yokozuna.
He would rather film Mr. Nanny than put over Bret Hart.
I feel like he shouldn't. Yeah, he should have wanted. Like he should have been.
He knew Bret Hart was primed and ready.
Bret was the guy to go. Yeah,
the spot as the guy.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
He didn't want to do the job. Just like he. By the way, I think it's hilarious that he fucked over Randy Savage the way he did. Had the audacity to be the guy who inducted him into the Hall of Fame after he passed away. Yeah. What I would not have given for Randy Savage to resurrect himself just for one night and drop an elbow on that basketball skin prick. He is honestly, for me, Hulk Hogan is far worse, because when you're in that position, you have all the power and all the star power and everything to make anyone look good and help benefit the business. And actually, through not doing that and tucking your tail between your legs and running off to Hollywood and doing shit movies that nobody cared about, the bottom line is that ultimately you actually damage the business, because then we had that new generation, and that was one of the worst periods in terms of money in history that WWF ever had. It honestly almost sunk the company, and that was when Nitro kind of slid in and went, haha, we'll have a slice of that and show you how it's done. And that's what really helped gain momentum, because Hulk Hogan was a little bitch for so long, particularly on the back end, politicking his way to so many different titles that he didn't need. And the fact that WWE actually have gone back and sweetened the audio and stuff so that you can't get people booing him and stuff. Like, for instance, Sid Vicious, when he gets eliminated in the Rumble.
Oh, yeah. That was early. They done that from, they did that like from early on, didn't they? Because they wanted to spin.
Before we get into the fact that he doesn't even like black people, apparently. Like just grow.
No. He likes multi-millionaire, billionaire black men to be his daughter, not the poor ones. Like 90% of the people.
Sterling of wrestling is what he is. For anyone who gets that reference, he's an absolute cretin in the highest order. Will Ospreay and Seth Rollins. Do you remember when they had a massive spat on Twitter and started having a go at each other because Seth Rollins started going after Will Ospreay, saying that, I don't have to do all the stuff that I do to basically be a star like you do. Will Ospreay clapped back at him, giving him the business on Twitter, and actually led to Will Ospreay running with it and making a T-shirt which sold thousands. Like, again, sensitive wrestlers using social media.
I said before, and forget my language and everything, but I think wrestling now is just for a bunch of pussies. No one really says nothing to their face no more. Everyone's scared to fight these days. Police, or it's like all safe-based stuff. Again, I'm not saying back in the day was great, but back in the day, as a man, I don't like you, you don't like me, you come, bam, you face it out, you beat me, fine. I beat you, fine, move on, bam, move on. That's it. These days, internet, and then you have the stupid situation of AEW Collision, CM Punk's got his own show, Dynamite / Nitro, you got Elite and Mr. What's his name? Cowboy, what's his name again?
What, Bob Orton?
No. What's his name again? I forgot his name. That's how I read it yesterday. I was going to say Joe Janela. He won the AEW title.
Yeah, he's about
Hangman Page. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah. See, again, he's so rid of. I can't remember his name.
He is sensitive, isn't he? That one.
But you see what I'm saying? It's like these guys are so sensitive. It's like, come on, you don't like each other, you deal with it. You know what? It's not deal with it. I'm sure we go to work and we must, at least one person, hate some person at work. You don't go to work and literally punch their lights out and everything. You find a way to work together. If they put their hands on you, different story. But again, like I said, I never knew about the Will Ospreay and Seth Rollins stuff. But Seth, mate, you can't talk. Again, I'm not going to call you crappy, but my gosh, you're boring, you're bland. Look, I talk about having a change. Look, the most you've done, mate.
But the crowd goes, whoa.
Listen, the crowd, look, I will say it. And again, people don't use these words anymore. The crowd are a bunch of neeks. We don't use that word no more. They're neeks, they're dorks. Sorry, crowd. Again,
dorks.
You're dorks, you're neeks. Back in the day, we called them, sounds bad, geeks, losers. You like losers. You don't. Seth's not cool. He's not a badass. Probably the only badass things ever done.
This is where I get to defend your boy JBL, because I loved his promo at one night.
Yeah.
Hammering the ECW fans.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was good shit, because that was right on the money. That was. Yeah.
The only thing he's already done is ban Becky Lynch. But even then, I'm told people was banging Becky Lynch long before he was. I'm told she got pregnant even before she met him. So hey, but
careful now.
Yeah, I know.
How about Batista and Bully Ray?
What do you do?
So apparently, as recounted in the Ruthless Aggression episode of Evolution, The Dudley Boys once faced off against Orton and Batista. Both teams walked out of the contest with multiple injuries due to shooting on each other. Batista and Randy Orton claimed that there was a large amount of jealousy from Bully Ray because they were the ones that were put with Triple H and Ric Flair, and he wasn't given the same opportunities.
Anton knows already. I'm a Batista guy. He's cool. He's cashmere jumper.
The jumpers just does it for him.
Cashmere jumpers. He's badass boots and his jeans and everything. Baggy Melina and John Morrison sitting in the corner wanking off and everything. Look, but Bully Ray, yes, you had Velvet Sky, but that was years later. In 2002, 2003, I didn't mind you, but he was basically this supposed hardcore guy facing, was it Johnny Staboloni, facing Stevie Richards and everything. You weren't the guy. You had your shot on Raw. Triple H beat you like you're an idiot. And then you wasn't a big deal, so they put you back with Devon. Sorry. It's jealousy.
His height of his career was always going to be as a tag guy. He was never a great singles talent.
And you know what I'm going to say? His height was when he was with who? Vince Russo in TNA.
What? Aces and Eights?
No, when he was with his TNA World Champion.
Yeah, Aces and Eights.
Even before then, when he was part of the Immortal. He was part of the Immortal, remember? He was part of the Immortal.
Yeah.
Then he had the Aces and Eights. He had his own group. Vince Russo, mate. Sorry.
That was fucking terrible. That was.
Mate, I'm sure you was watching it on Channel 5 and was it what was it? The men's channel on.
I was too busy watching real wrestling, mate, in WWE. I ain't got time for that nonsense. Bunch of flippy nonsense for all these kids running around. The highlight of TNA was Jay Lethal and Ric Flair having it out of each other, mate. That's where the pinnacle was. And I bet Vince Russo didn't write any of that nonsense.
Pally? No, he didn't. He didn't.
CM Punk and Triple H is also on this list. Enough said about that, really. Yeah. It is what it is.
Who do you side with, by the way? Who do you side with?
What?
Punk or...
It's very hard to side with Punk when it comes to anything these days because he is just like... I like Punk's promos. I enjoy how... Because like a lot of people assume I'll love him because I'm very outspoken myself and all that. But the difference is that, you know, like you can actually come to me and have it out. Whereas with CM Punk, it seems like, you know, but then it's difficult. CM Punk did a lot of things where I thought you're just a little bitch. But then at the same time, I see what like Kenny Omega and the gang did. And I think Punk's well within his right to defend himself there. So, you know.
But just because I know you can answer the question, was Punk right in a situation where he said, and I've said Danton many times, the main event is the last match of the show. That's the main event. The title match, the main event.
I absolutely agree.
Is it the thing of facing Triple H is like, oh yeah, that's the big deal.
He was right. He was right on that in a sense. Yeah. Like he knows that it's one of the main events. It's not going to be considered the main event of WrestleMania. Like if you're not on the last match.
The main event is the last match.
And, and everybody knows it.
My friend Nick used to argue with me that no, you can have more than one main event. Fuck you, you can't. Like there is only one main event in my opinion, and that is the last match. Whatever closes the show is the main event. It's called a main event for a reason. Utter nonsense. You know, but at the same time, like you know, because CM Punk really got his knickers in a twist, didn't he, about the Miz main eventing? And the bottom line is he was the WWE champion. You got to wrestle Undertaker at WrestleMania.
Oh yeah.
Don't act like you didn't get given. Like CM Punk he held the belt, didn't he, for like a year and a half? Like he acts as if he was never given the ball and ran with it. And it's like,
you know what he said though? He said about his caliber of workers. Yeah, he had Jericho and everything. He said he didn't really have the type of wrestlers that he would have liked to have had.
No, he did. He had caliber.
At that point, WWE didn't have any stars, and that's
what he said.
He did. I think one of his points, and I get what he was saying. I think we talked about it before. He was basically saying, like, obviously he was fighting all the guys that were sort of brought in as, they get the label of part timers, but he fought Undertaker, he fought Lesnar, he fought The Rock, but he always lost. He always lost, and that's a fair point to say. At the same time, how are you going to sort of establish and say he is on that level? Like they definitely gave him a high profile, but did they really say, okay, he's up there? They did with Cena because he got back-to-back pay-per-view wins over John Cena, which was big. But then also another one of these issues with Triple H, which I can see is he said because he had a event with him afterwards, didn't he? After
the Night of Champions of what it was called.
That, and Triple H beat him.
Yeah,
that's kind of things like you had your time then, you could have made me, but you chose to go over, and now you want to wrestle me here. It's like I don't need to wrestle you. He's basically I don't need to wrestle. I needed it then. And that's when you should have put me over, really, to establish me as because he was on the cusp of like potentially being the next sort of like breakout, like a new, ushering a new era. Like he could have been the Stone Cold of that period. Like if they really when you had all of that buzz going about the walking out on the company and stuff like that, taking the belt with him, having voice of the voiceless. Yeah, maybe if they'd really like completely got behind him, strapped the rocket to him, and say, you know, like he's up there with everybody, maybe he would have we would have had another sort of megastar in our hands. That's fair. I can see that point, thinking, you know, but like you say, maybe did he address that at the time, or is it like now like it's all bottled up and sort of blows up at the end? But I do think there's some valid, to me there is some valid arguments that he's got to feel a bit aggrieved.
What do we think about Logan Paul facing Ricochet on Raw next week? No love for Logan Paul, man.
No, like I said, I remember him from YouTube years ago. So it's like, you know what it is?
You know why? Because they're cheap now. That's why.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't pay £1,000 for that one.
£2 in Morrison's, mate. Who's the mug now, KSI? Who's the mug now?
You know, I'm just going to go Morrison and give it a try tomorrow. I'll give it a try tomorrow. You know what? It's weird because, again, Aeron, you know this guy much better than me. I didn't really watch Ricochet before WWE. I kept hearing about him, Power Slam and all these things. Oh, he was great. He's this and that. When I saw him, I just thought, he's a flip guy. He moves. Again,
he's a great athlete. That's all.
He's a great athlete. He can sell nice.
He was great in NXT because that was the right platform for him, I think.
Fair enough.
I don't think he's done a great deal on the main roster to care about it. I think that this is this definitely will help boost his stock because he's in the ring with Logan Paul. Like, it absolutely will help him out. They've seemed to have run with the angle of, because Logan Paul went on his podcast and said that Ricochet was dangerous and tried to injure him at Money in the Bank. I think that's a work, obviously.
Yeah.
But, you know, but at the same time, it's like, there's kind of a bit of truth there, really, because he could have actually killed him. Yeah. And the funny thing is, you know, Logan Paul barely wrestles at all. When he does, it's a big deal. So the fact that he's wrestling Ricochet and Raw means they must have something quite unique planned for him.
Hasn't he been into it twice though? Didn't he get into it against Roman Reigns and now this as well?
But he's putting all the wrestlers to shame, isn't he, Gabe?
Of course he is.
He's putting all today's wrestlers to shame.
He's one of the best heels in the company. He's one of the best heels.
I know, but he's not able to do one match and then carry on. It's like he's basically had a match, has to take time off.
Yeah, he's that good that he can put everything all into one match.
That's it, and then we see him again.
He kills himself there enough. He's back 6 months. Does it all again. Bam. So it's like, twice a year.
We get one match out of him, and then he's wrecked.
Well, look, it's better than watching Ricochet every week. And like Aeron said, no one cares in anything.
No, I give you that. He's got some appeal to him, but to say that he puts everyone else to shame when he's not able to have a.
Well, look, I'm gonna say, Aeron. Everyone's talking about Eli Drake. What's his name again? LA Knight. Everyone's talking about LA Knight like he's this big deal. I was watching for years in TNA. Nobody cared in TNA.
Oh yeah, no, like I loved him as Eli Drake. Like for me, like he's always been great. But I was terrified. I thought he's going to get the EC3 treatment there, where he's going to get buried, because EC3 should have been a much bigger deal, in my opinion, in WWE, and wasn't. You know, they just had no clue what they were doing with him. Whereas at least with LA Knight, like the crowd are all over this. They are raucously behind him now, which is good. So you know, it's one of those things. Yeah, it would have been nice if they'd loved him from the start, because especially his stuff in NWA was brilliant, by the way. When NWA Power first kicked back into gear, he was really carrying that, making that look good. That was a good promotion alongside Nick Aldis, who apparently WWE are quite keen on him, but not in a wrestling capacity, which is very strange. Yeah. Very, very strange. But
what do you think about Kevin Nash, though? Sorry, I apologize. Sorry,
what were you saying?
No, I was going to say, because I obviously I like to be Kevin Nash fans. Kevin Nash was basically saying about how he's basically an Austin Rock ripoff, and that, you know, he was telling Triple H and Shawn Michaels, don't push this guy.
I mean, Kevin Nash, like, it's one of those things where it's like, you're the lowest drawing WWE champion in history. Shut your mouth. Like, you know what? Like, I'm like, just like, you know, I know Kevin Nash has gone through a lot lately, which is really sad, obviously, with his son and stuff like that. But it's just like, man, like, stop going on the internet and whinging. Hey, you're kind of like in the Bret Hart mold now. And it's like, and he would always, if you watch shoot interviews that he did with like kayfabe commentary and stuff, he'd always whinge about Bret Hart being, you know, just saying, oh, Bret Hart whinges, he's an old man, he's too salty. And it's like, no, you're exactly the same. You're doing exactly the same things that you critique Bret for. So, you know what? Too much internet and not enough fucking real life, mate. That's the problem right there. Arn Anderson had a little rant as well. He was asked what he felt was one of the biggest mistakes young wrestlers are making right now. He said, young guys that don't wear knee pads, that don't feel they need them or don't want them or whatever, is a big mistake. He added, I would advise every young wrestler, male or female, from the first time you step in the ring, knee pads are essential equipment to giving you longevity and protecting you. This seems pretty freaking obvious, but...
Cody Rhodes for a long time, isn't it?
Yeah, Cody did, yeah.
Yeah, do you agree with that? Obviously, as workers, we're going to agree with that,
yeah, I would never have considered, leaving that.
I will never wrestle without knee pads. No. Not happening. Not happening, especially as a bigger guy. Like, that fucking hurts like shit.
We will, listen, me and Aeron are bigger guys. If we didn't wear knee pads and was wrestling on a consistent basis, but our knees will be shredded.
Even little guys are gonna mess their knees up. So yeah, I think we all need knee pads.
You feeling left out?
Big or small? I did.
Yeah.
We need the knee pads. What are you wearing knee pads for?
You're considered a hoss. What are you on about? He's the power portion of the business. Gabe's more technical.
You think Arn's kind of lost it a little bit now? In terms of, like, obviously, I think for us, obviously, we watched him, obviously, NWA, WCW. He got his injury and everything backstage. Was a big influence with producing for WWE and everything. He's in AEW, and for me, it's like he's there, but he's just, yeah. And he's a producer as well. And it's like, we don't really hear much of him. I know he had the thing with the gun. the gun thing on his AEW and everything, but apart from that, he's signed there. Was it Brock? Legitimately, I didn't know someone's called.
It feels like all these guys, Dean Malenko, Arn Anderson, whoever it might be, it's just like they're just there so that they can say we've got them backstage. I don't think they're adding. They're obviously not adding anything to it because nobody's listening to any of them.
Yeah, when you think about it, imagine we had
be desperate to spend time with Arn Anderson and learn.
Yeah.
I would actually pay crazy money to listen to Arn Anderson in a room for hours on end. Like, and these guys are like, but then you've obviously Brandon Cutler knows better, doesn't he? Because
you listen to his podcast.
Hey,
you listen to his podcast?
Who? Arnett? Yeah, absolutely.
Anton?
Yeah.
I do. You do? When was the last time you listened to it?
Today. I listened to his.
Why are you digging out Anton?
Exactly. What are you digging about? I'm going.
No, the thing is, I've got a whole kind of selection of Anderson for years. Just listening, going through it. So yeah. I just thought,
do you subscribe to Vince Russo's podcast, Gabe?
I actually do. The brand.
Do you subscribe to his? Are you on his Patreon? Are you? So you get all the Patreon content.
Vinny, I love you, but no.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
No, I used to. No. I used to give donations, but
yeah.
Now
let's see your receipts.
Look, I'm a fan of Vince Russo, but at the same time,
don't say.
I appreciate his work, but at the same time, I do think he deserves more respect than he gets. But again, Aeron's basically giving him respect. Anton obviously respects him, but he won't say it in public because he knows he'll get cursed out by Jim Cornette and the rest of them. So it's fine.
Anton, I've got a very important question for you based on wrestling news this week. So, a set of former WWE superstar Mandy Rose's ring gear is currently being auctioned off by herself on eBay, and the going price is nearly at $30,000. How much do you reckon your ring gear would sell for if you stuck it on eBay, mate?
Might get a tenner. I'm lucky.
How much again?
I'll have it.
How much?
Tenner.
How much for it?
How much are you gonna pay for it, Gabe?
No, I was asking how much again for the gear?
I'm starting the bid at a tenner. What are you going up for?
I want to put 100,000 rupees.
Convert that for me. Am I rich or am I still broke?
£3.50.
Okay, I'm broke.
I was going to say. I'm going to go ahead and say no, judging by the state of their economy.
No, legitimately. How much for a gear again? Literally, I put my headphones out in protest.
30 grand right now is going.
Crazy.
That's so that people can smell it, mate. I think, if we're being honest.
I have to, you know what? Again, I know it's a podcast with all boys and everything. I'm scratching my head in terms of, has the world gone mad?
Yes.
Has the world?
Who would actually want to spend?
I wish I had 30 grand in the bank, mate. But 30 grand to spend just.
But you wouldn't. But you wouldn't be spending it on that, would you? Like, what's wrong? What's wrong with the person that wants to fight for 30k?
I think it's more a case of, can you imagine in this current climate with everyone struggling the way they are, someone's willing to put 30 grand down on women's gear.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, what, like, in all seriousness, what are you getting?
Hey, it's your money. You can do what you want. But
of course. But yeah.
Someone's ring gear. Cameron Anderson, right? You know Cameron Anderson, who you met, Anton, at the last IWE show. He's obviously my boy, and he's really doing well. So he invested almost 400 quid in Josh Alexander's boots that he was selling. Those were actually Josh Alexander's boots he was wearing. I would consider that a far better investment of my time and money. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and he's worn them religiously at every single show since he started wrestling. So.
Yeah. And to be fair, I mean, if that's a boot's going to cost you like 150 to 200 pounds probably anyway. So, all right, you're dumbing it up. But then if you look up to a certain wrestler and it's, I don't think that's such a bad, and it's a nice little, even there, you're just going to say a little anecdote. It's a nice little story to say, you start. I mean, I my dad sold boxing boots when I started. And my dad did like amateur boxing. So it's nice to have a little bit of a cool. But I don't know whoever bought that unless they come out in Mandy Rose's gear. Whoever bought that, it could turn out to be one of the current crop of wrestlers.
Go out on a limb and say it's an AEW fan.
The world's gone mad, I swear.
That might be what they want to do. They might want to be inspired by Mandy Rose. Like, it means that much to them coming out.
I'm inspired by Mandy Rose, but I'm not spending 30 grand on her. Not being rude, but if I'm spending 30 grand on her gear, I want to actually sleep with her for that money. That's ridiculous. It's just crazy. But hey, good for her if she can make it. By the way, she made $1 million off of her like OnlyFans style account.
You bunch of saps, you idiot. Go out there and go find a woman, man. You're paying for this woman who's never going to sleep with you, never going to call you, never going to marry you, never going to have kids for you, but you're going to spend your hard-earned money on just pictures and her saying, hello, how are you?
The Queen.
Is that the Queen's OnlyFans?
I was going to say the Queen is resurrected.
I lost it there. I kind of lost it there. But
that's amazing. Like, what an impression that is. Like, we're gonna have to put that in a reel.
You know what? I'm
gonna make a YouTube shorts right there.
I have never in my life understood. Again, people have a right to do what they want, but I've never understood anybody paying for women. I've never understood that. I don't know. I understand it. I just don't. I won't do it. Nah, you must be out of your mind. No way. Especially in OnlyFans.
To be honest, I'd be amazed if you'd said yes, because that is not a God-fearing.
Nah, but look, even before I was a Christian, never did. Even now, I wouldn't. But it's just, it's a thought of, okay, let's say, for example, she said, listen, Anton, Gabriel, Aeron, you give me 30 grand, I'm your wife for life, whatever. I'm all yours. Mate, I'm sure most of us will be scrounging around to get that money. But it's like, it's what, a photo? Nah, man. Again, people may say it's old-fashioned. It's not old-fashioned. I just think it's madness. Again, because of society now, because of how difficult things are in life in general, rent, mortgage, feeding yourself, you have kids, looking after your kids, if you have wives, you have husbands, whatever, things are so difficult. Again, anybody can put their money wherever they want, but it's just, again, and this is me who actually respects and loves wrestling. Nah, say.
Now's a bad time. Now's a bad time to point out that Anton obviously dropped quite a large amount of money on Stephen Barker's used gear. Shut up.
Whoever the guy is that spent 30 grand, mate, I want to come meet you. I want to come meet you.
How much would you, just out of curiosity, Gabe, like legit?
Yeah, go on.
How much would you spend, say, if you had the chance to buy Bret Hart's used boots, for instance?
Maybe a couple hundred.
Really?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I won't spend like 1,000. I'm not never that. Again, I love Bret. Don't get me wrong, but it's that thing where I think about, okay, yeah, it's boots. What would I do? Unless I'm going to wrestle with it, it's going to be in my cupboard, or it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, there's something distinctive as well about certain boots as well. Like, I suppose, like, like Bret's would have the, they're Bret Hart's boots.
Oh yeah.
So I suppose, like from if you're a collector as well, like with memorabilia, like some people will collect the belts and stuff like that.
Like Conrad.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, it's like to have that as like it's almost like your own sort of little museum type, like shrine to wrestling. Like I get if that's what you want to collect certain things for. And, it's decor, isn't it? It's decor, like if you have it out. So I can understand. If that's but I just don't think that's why that person threw 30K down. Maybe if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Aeron, how much would you spend?
I mean, I'm poor as shit, so I wouldn't be spending any money, to be honest.
Anton, I know you. I know you.
I like 8x10s and stuff. Like, for instance, I do a lot of like 8x10s for wrestlers, and I try and always say like, could you like maybe put one aside and sign it for me? It's a nice little memento, and I don't mind buying an 8x10 or something, or I like buying t-shirts from the guys I like and stuff like that. And I'm very blessed that I get to make a lot of guys gear now, things like that. But I would never spend any real amount. My rule of thumb is, especially as a professional videographer, is if you're looking to sell something and it costs the same as a camera, forget about it. I'm not buying it.
I agree.
I agree. Yeah.
Anton, how much would you spend? Go on.
I'm not really into. That's the thing, and I
No,
do.
no, no.
I'm not into.
There must be a woman in
Yeah.
wrestling that you would throw money at.
No.
Come
No,
on.
if Shawn Michaels basically, if he has Shawn Michaels gear from '96 when he beat Brett for the WWF title, and so here it is, Anton, how much will you pay for it?
But again, like I have priorities, so I wouldn't be putting my money on something like that.
You see,
Like,
he's a politician. He's a politician.
I don't
you see?
look. I don't have that sort of. I don't have a shrine or anything like. I used to keep loads of like wrestling memorabilia when I was young, like a teenager. But then I got rid of it in my early 20s, and it's like I don't really have, other than just like a few. I don't have like collectibles. I don't have a little area like that where I'd want to keep it. So I wouldn't really desire like, I want Shawn Michaels ring gear.
There's stuff I want. Like I'd probably like if Brett said to me, $200 or $300, you can have one of my jackets I wore to the ring.
I would. Yeah, I would.
Like, absolutely. Yeah. Like, I'd love a pair of the shades that he gave out. Like when I was a kid, I wanted nothing more than to be the kid who got the shades from him. You know, if he signed a pair of shades and said $50, I'm like, yeah, of course, I'll fucking have that any day. But you know, like, yeah, you have to be. Maybe that's because we live in the fucking real world. Like,
I
think that's why people are pissed off about it.
I think if you've got the money, if you've got if I've got the money, like I wouldn't be completely adverse. Yeah, if I had a little, like, say, I had a room that I use for the gym or the track or whatever, and it's like, and kit that out with a bit of wrestling sort of memorabilia, not a little bit of my own stuff and some people that I looked up to, and I would. But then again,
what you're saying is Adam Mansfield is a little bitch for collecting all those belts.
No, what I'm saying is my situation, like I don't feel like I have that expendable cash to be able to say, right, that's what I'm going to do. Like there's other things I'd want to spend my money on.
Like
and what's that?
Like KFC, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. KFC. Yeah. I need my chicken.
Yeah. You're welcome, by the way.
It wasn't expensive. It wasn't an expensive bucket, was it? Come on, you see where my priorities are.
Well, apparently Mandy Rose is an extremely expensive bucket, so that's neither here nor there. But yeah, no, I don't get me wrong. I would very much enjoy the company of someone like Mandy Rose, but I ain't paying $30,000 for the privilege. You can get the hell out of here. That ain't happening. Not happening. I have standards, if I'm being honest. Right, we'll wrap it up with the what is basically set for SummerSlam. Hopefully, you boys are going to come on, do the predictions and stuff for SummerSlam, because that's a couple of weeks away.
Before I forget, are we confirming about AEW?
Yeah. So basically, I've been told that you two are definitely on board for coming to AEW.
Yep.
So, right, I'll sort it because apparently Gabe couldn't come through with the tickets. He was throwing out promises that he couldn't deliver.
Oh, no. With my job, they have certain privileges and they was not able to suffice it. Because if I had went to it, I would have to go and work.
No, I'm teasing you, but yeah, no, absolutely. I'll get us tickets if you want. If you guys want to come to Coliseum beforehand, you'll obviously be treated like royalty. No wearing that Vince Russo shirt in Coliseum, or I will call you out. And I will stand up and I will make an example of you in front of the audience. I will. I don't care.
I will be Tank. See, when Tank had the shank in WWE, that'll be me.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, no, it's we'll definitely be at AEW, and if we are going to AEW, which great, we'll do a little pre-show for that, and obviously we'll record ourselves and have a bit of fun on the day, and hopefully get some content for that. That'd be good fun. Speaking of which, before AEW All In, it will be SummerSlam on August the 5th, 2023, of course. And they do already have two big matches announced. So Finn Balor will challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship again against Seth Rollins. And Cody Rhodes will face Brock Lesnar in a singles match. Everyone all right so far with how SummerSlam is building? The big suggestion is that it will be Jimmy Uso versus Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
I apologize. I keep getting confused. Is Jimmy the one basically who they?
Jimmy's the one that was like trying to keep the peace. Jay's the one who was like main event.
Jay's like the hothead. Yeah, he's the one.
Give the hothead. Give the hothead one.
That's where it looked like it was going. But you're saying that that's
apparently there's a lot of rumors suggesting that it may be Jimmy Uso.
Well, that hasn't really been done before, is it? Because it was Jay that like originally.
Jay did have two very good matches with Roman in the build up to him becoming the Tribal Chief. Yeah. So I wouldn't be against both of them having a title shot back to back, maybe at pay-per-views, like the pay-per-view that fills the gap between Survivor Series. Give Jimmy a shot there, maybe.
Yeah,
but we acknowledge that neither of them are going to win. We're acknowledging that, yeah.
Yeah, I'd be.
Yeah, I think Roman Reigns retains.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and we acknowledge basically that Finn's just there for the sake of it. He's not going to beat Seth.
I think that's cash in time for Damian Priest.
And you think he deserves it?
Oh, absolutely. Because I predicted him to win. And
yeah, I know. I forgot. Oh yeah,
did I mention I went 7-0?
Yes, you did.
Where's my banned Mars bar? Yo, I'm cashing in at All In. I want my banned Mars bar.
So can Anton shave his head then?
So I can throw it at Tony Khan.
You promised a banned Mars bar. I didn't promise to cut my hair.
I will have the Mars bar for AEW then. That's fine.
Right. For the next two big pay-per-views, All In and SummerSlam, we will enforce a forfeiture of some format that is agreed upon by all.
But it's not people's hairs or beards.
Yeah, no.
Look at him trying to get through.
I think Anton, I'll say it, Anton should shave his head. If he's that confident, he'll put his hair on the line.
Why you want to see me with the bald head? What is
because I shaved. I lost, and I had to shave my head.
Jealousy. Yeah.
To be fair, yeah, I would love to have hair like that. If I'm being honest.
Aeron has to basically cut his beard off, but then again, it's like it'll grow back quickly anyway. So it's like, well, or you can pierce your ear. You have a nose piercing?
I've never had a piercing, to be honest.
Okay.
Plenty of tattoos. Shall I get Let's Talk Business?
Oh, get Vinny Roo. Get Vinny Roo on your arm.
What, tattooed?
Yeah. Woo.
I tell you what, as a forfeit, I won't get it tattooed, but I'll get a henna. You know, one of those ones that lasts 6 months. I'll do that. I'll absolutely do that.
And what about me?
Yeah, you need to find something that Gabe doesn't want to like.
You have to denounce God on the podcast.
I would do that. I literally just see me go.
A lightning bolt come across.
I would never ask that of a religious man. That's way out of order. I would never do that. Yeah, no, I'm too nice for that nonsense. We'll figure something though. We've got some time. We've got a couple of weeks before SummerSlam, and it should be 2.5 weeks until SummerSlam. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good show. You know what? WWE have proven that they can put together good pay-per-views, so I'm excited. Anything you boys want to cover before we wrap it up?
I think we've more than covered more than you planned for us to
set the world alight.
Yeah,
absolutely. All right.
Unless you got something there, Hitman. You got something in your mind?
No, I just want to say thank you to Aeron for bringing us on. It's always a pleasure, and I apologize that I stretched it out a little bit, but. Again, I don't
apologize for that. I honestly, legit, like as a shoot, I love having you two on this podcast, and it's very, very cool that I get to lend my voice to Let's Talk Business, and hopefully I haven't sworn too much because I know Anton's been ribbing me, being private about apparently I swear too much. Gabe, are you coming this Saturday? Just out of curiosity.
Oh, I'll be there. I'll be there in my Vinny Roo shorts.
He says he's going to be there. He says he's going to.
Anton, am I going to be there?
Am I going to be there? I'll bring him along.
I'll be there.
He said he was going to come to Cardiff and all, but he was conspicuous by his absence.
You know what, people? If you don't see Aeron the next show, I apologize. Please don't come after me. My name is Anton.
You ain't doing nothing.
Anton Green.
As a man of God, you certainly ain't doing nothing.
My name is Anton Green, and I live in Hackney. If you want to know who I am, that's my real name.
My name is Anton Green, and I live in I know for a fact he doesn't live in Hackney. That is fake news. I'm not having that.
It's old news.
I'm a journalist.
It's old
news. Can I just point out the man of God just said he was going to off me on the podcast.
Well, yeah, but then he put the crime on me. So I suppose that's his get out clause. Like technically, he embodied me that time.
Yeah, so you're the fall guy, mate. That's how that works.
I'm taking the hit for the hitman.
Scapegoat of the business, absolutely. And how can we find Let's Talk Business, by the way, on social media?
Facebook, Instagram. Say Let's Talk Business. We've started to build, started to improve our social media presence. We've still got ways to go. After we took. all of a sudden we came alive, but. Yeah,
legit though, because I genuinely think you guys have got a wicked dynamic and a really sick podcast, and you're doing yourself a disservice by not letting people know all about it. And to be honest, I would much rather listen to you two than a couple of sweaty marks in their basement that have never taken a bump. Like Brandon Cutler,
But yeah, he's pointing to the sweat.
I was waiting for that.
Brandon Cutler, like you're a fucking bitch, is what you are. Sorry, you're just
off, Brandon.
Yeah, just get in the bin, mate. Get in the bin. Dungeons and Dragons, please. Roll for initiative, you tart. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So that's it from the State of Business address on the Wrestle Plug and Let's Talk Business. Don't forget to check out the links in the description if you would like to check out either podcast and see the backlog of amazing content that both podcasts have. I've been Aeron X. Thank you very much to the Hitman, Gabe Myers. And of course, to Mr. Clean, Anton Green. And we'll catch you very soon for more content from WrestlePlug and Let's Talk Business.